Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney. In every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome back, everyone, to Wrestling Omakase. It is episode number 273, and this week I'm joined by a returning guest. Hello, John Bivins.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. I had a weird weekend, but maybe I'll get into that. But how are you doing?
I'm good. Been watching a lot of wrestling, but ready to talk about it.
So yeah, I think I mentioned on the podcast last week that I had this convention this past weekend, and I don't know, I was expecting a small convention, and it was somehow still way smaller than I thought it was going to be. So it was very strange, especially when you like do a lot of work. Actually, you know what? You probably had a perfect guess for this because you're an indie wrestler, so I'm sure you've also gotten to buildings and been like, "That's it" for the crowd. But that was my reaction basically, because it was like the hotel, I knew it was going to be a hotel con. So it's this Anime New Jersey thing. So I knew it was going to be like one of the smaller cons I've ever been to. Because normally when I do these panels, I do them like Anime Boston and Otakon, which are like these giant conventions that draw like tens of thousands of people. So I'm very used to doing my panels in front of like, hundreds of people. Right. And here we have this hotel con where like, I don't know how many people are at this thing total. I'd be surprised based on what I saw if it was more than like 500 at the peak. And maybe even, for sure on Friday and Sunday when I had 3 of my panels, probably way less than that. And on top of that, it was like very weirdly laid out where like almost all the convention stuff was downstairs in the hotel. So basically you had to go downstairs from the lobby, and that's where like the main dealer's room was, the panel room 1, the video game room, and then there was like a main events thing in a ballroom upstairs. But then 2 of the panel rooms and the maid cafe were like kind of clustered off in this little, I don't know how else to describe this weird corner of the hotel that was like not obvious at all. They didn't have it laid out very well with signs. They didn't explain it in the guide. You just kind of had to wander around until you found it. And it was like in this weird like hallway past like the lobby restaurant. It was very strange. So that did not help. And all of my panels were over there. And yeah, I ended up giving a panel to like between 5 and 7 people the entire weekend for each panel. And it was a deeply weird feeling because I'm like, just giving, I don't know. I mean, for all I know, it's all I'm talking to right now. I don't know how many people listen to the podcast, but like, it's just very weird when you're in person and talking to people and it's like 5 people when you're used to like talking to hundreds for the same like programming. So yeah, it was very strange, especially like the panel I do that's like on Japanese travel. Like that panel is very designed for like audience participation to like ask any questions. And, usually I don't have enough time to get to everybody's questions because you have like 200 people in the room. You kind of have to just move on at some point. You can't answer like a 10th straight question about hotels or whatever. But like with 5 people in the room, I mean, they all got to ask every single question they had. That is for sure. So, I mean, I guess that was cool for them. But yeah, it was just a very weird thing. And like, probably the most surreal thing is there's this panel called Bad Anime Bad, which has been run at these like Eastern conventions for as long as I've been going. So probably like, I don't know, I was still a teenager the first time I went to this panel. So it's been a long fucking time. People know how old I am. And like the first time, usually when you go to that panel, it's like in the main events room of the convention, of these giant conventions. So bigger rooms than I usually get. So usually he's probably talking to like, I don't know, like a room the size with like a attendance of a Korakuen Hall show or something, like 1,000 to 1,500 people or something. And, it's like the whole panel is basically just like him riffing on bad anime. That's pretty much the whole thing. And it's very funny. But again, I'm used to it being in front of like a gigantic room, even bigger than the ones I'm talking to. So it was really surreal going to that panel on Saturday night and being like one of 7 people at that panel too. And it's like, I don't know, it was very, very strange just having this guy like who I'm used to seeing at this, from the back of this giant filled room because I didn't line up early enough to get a good seat in this tiny room of 7 people. I was just like, okay, very, very weird. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that again because it's just a lot of, I put a lot of work into these panels. I hosted 4 of them throughout the weekend, and it's just, I don't know, to do it for like 5 people was very strange. So, what are you gonna? I don't know. How do you react as an indie wrestler when you get there and there's like nobody there? Do you like have a weird reaction?
I mean, it depends. Like, the most discouraging thing is like a lot of my matches are like in a vacuum where it's like there's no outstanding story beforehand and usually not one afterwards. So if it's like that and you got a small crowd, it's kind of more fun because you can kind of cater to the audience. Like you can they can basically like call the match for you in a lot of ways. But I don't know. It's like case by case basis. Like the most discouraging thing though is like if you're doing something with a story and then like it's a really small crowd, like you're building up to like that promotion's like WrestleMania, and then like the county fair's in town, so like 30 people are at the show. So you're just like, fuck me, like we tried really hard, and then like this is what the payoff is. So yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. I was going to say, it sounds similar to what I was saying with the travel panel was probably the best one to do with nobody there because it just felt like the people in attendance just got to ask every last question they ever would have thought of. And that one with the tiny crowd actually was kind of good. Like that was definitely the panel I enjoyed doing the most.
Right.
With nobody, with the tiny crowd because they just got to sit there and, ask whatever questions they wanted. And if it was kind of cool. The other panels I do though, I do 2 music panels, which those tend to be like with a full room. You have people at the more comedic music video panel. People are usually laughing a lot, and people are usually like making their own jokes and stuff. And there's usually different energy. And with like 5 people in the room, there was no energy. And
that's terrible.
Yeah, like the indie music panel, kind of similar, where usually have a big crowd and you have people asking questions about different artists. And here again, there's just no energy but a few people. The wrestling panel is probably in between the two, where we had like one guy who actually came in like, because again, there's like 6 people there total in the crowd. We had one guy who came in pretty late, like 15 or 20 minutes into like an hour and a half panel, and he was very like vocal throughout the panel to the point where he, almost was like doing his own commentary on stuff, and like very I don't know, like almost like the where you have a bonus panelist in the crowd. That can be really annoying, especially if you have a giant room and this one guy keeps trying to talk over and over again, which I've had happen. But in this case, it was great because I'm like, okay, at least someone is fucking engaged and giving me something to work with 6 people in the room. So, in that case, I actually was very happy that this man showed up and with a WWE title belt over his shoulder the entire time, like doing, and he was like I don't know, he's like a Naruto cosplayer with a WWE title belt. So I'm like, okay, that is like, if I had to come up with like the median anime con Japanese wrestling panel attendee, that would be it. But yeah, he was very vocal throughout the panel after he got there, which I appreciated because otherwise there was no energy before he showed up. So, but yeah, it was
I was just gonna. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you there.
No, I just said it was interesting. That's all. It was a very interesting experience. I haven't done a tiny con in a long time. I wish I could find a happy medium con between, giant 200-person room and 5 people, which is what I was hoping for. I was hoping for like a small full room of like 40 people or something. But
right, yeah. It's funny you say that about the Naruto guy with the WWE title belt. I actually went to the Georgia Renaissance Festival this past weekend. And there was actually a guy there that he was like on the back of his robe, it said Macho Mandolph. So he was like a hybrid between like Macho Man and Gandalf. And like his, like, I don't know what you call it, like the stick, the like wizard's toe, his staff, maybe is a better term, was like a Slim Jim. So yeah, that was,
that's pretty, cool. That's pretty creative.
Yeah, he was just walking around taking pictures and doing like the Macho Man voice. It was pretty awesome.
Did you do a good Macho Man voice at least? Because I've heard some really bad ones over the years.
It was in like the middle upper tier. Like personally, I feel like I can do a better one. It's just like when my voice goes down to that register, like I can't do it for more than like 30 seconds or I'm going to go into like a coughing fit. So yeah, like 6 out of 10, but like the effort there and like the presentation was enough to carry.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so we both did very nerdy stuff this weekend, I guess. anime convention and Renaissance Fair. But have you ever gone to like a convention or no?
So kinda. I went to I live down south of Atlanta. So I remember, I think it was like 2018 or 2019. I bugged my dad to go to, I think it was MomoCon.
Because there's one near you that's really famous called Dragon Con, I think.
Yes, yeah. So I've never been to Dragon Con, but we went to MomoCon because they actually have wrestling at both. Yeah, so I bugged my dad to take me to the MomoCon wrestling show, like before I, when I was like late teens, early 20s. So.
Oh, I get that. It took me embarrassingly long to think of the joke there, Doug, because you're the Peach State and Momo's Japanese for peach.
See, if it makes you feel any better, I never put that together. I was like, that's just the name of the convention and that's it, no greater thought.
Yeah, I was just looking at this. I was just trying to figure out when it was because I never heard of MomoCon. I've heard of, Dragon Con. I have a few friends that go every year. Dragon Con's a very general, like nerd convention kind of, which that's never really been my scene. Well, to be fair, I just never gone to one. Like I've only ever gone to anime conventions. I've never gone to Comic Cons or like more general conventions. So, but yeah, that sounds cool. They used to be the older convention in New Jersey that I was hoping this Anime New Jersey thing would replace because this one died. That was called Anime Next, which was the very first con I ever did a panel at. They used to have something called Cosplay Pro Wrestling, which is basically just really, really bad backyard wrestling. So like the worst you've ever seen. Like as far as like these people can't even really bump, and they can't. Because I went to it and I was thinking it would be. I was kind of thinking it would be like indie wrestlers just doing cosplay to get a booking out of it. And I think there were like maybe one or two people who were actual indie wrestlers, and the rest were just like the worst backyard wrestlers I've ever seen. So it was very funny. But it's like, oh, a guy would cosplay as Mario and fight a Bowser over Princess Peach, but neither of them could actually wrestle, like that kind of thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was entertaining for maybe 15 minutes, and then I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm gonna go find something else to do.
It's sort of like Kaiju Big Battle, kind of.
Yeah. Except those people were actual wrestlers, a lot of them, weren't they?
I'm not sure. It's been like years since I've watched anything with them, but yeah, I think.
I mean, they definitely were involved with Chikara. I just can't remember if more of the roster was like actual wrestlers under those masks, or if they were also like backyard people.
Yeah, the only one that I like know of that's still going is Dr. Cube, who's turned into like Dr. Redacted now. So I mean, he's had like a modicum of training like somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Except that was way more interesting, I'm sure, than the cosplay pro wrestling things. It was like, yeah, I don't know. Wasn't very good. But I mean, I've always there were years where this year Anime Expo, which is the biggest convention in the US, they had they ran a show with what's it called? The fucking Joshi Sukeban? Yeah. So they ran it at Anime Expo, which it seems like that'd be a natural crossover. But you had to pay for a separate ticket on top of your Anime Expo badge, which Anime Expo is famous for doing that bullshit. So, a long time ago, way back in the day, I want to say, it had to be mid 2000s. So whenever the Inoki, because Anime Expo was in LA, and whenever the Inoki Dojo was a thing, the first version, like the 2000s version, where like Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, and all those guys, they ran a show at Anime Expo. Like they actually ran a show at Anime Expo in the 2000s. So I've always wanted to meet somebody who went to that and just be like, what the fuck was Bryan Danielson wrestling in the middle of Anime Expo in the 2000s like? But I've never met anyone who went to that. So just kind of curious about that.
Yeah. My follow up to that is I did get to see Bryan Danielson live in between, like, I think it was after he got fired for choking Justin Roberts with a tie in like 2009. It was like right after that, he was at like a local indie promotion, like in my hometown, and they ran shows out of, it was an eye doctor that like owned like a Dave and Buster's type thing, but like for kids, like all that. Like they did the laser tag, the go-karts, like that kind of gimmick. So
wait, hold on. Did they brawl like into the actual arcade part?
No, missed opportunity. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking about this. I'm like, did I see this? Maybe just thinking, maybe it was somebody else on the same show or something.
It's entirely possible because like they ran for I think like 4 or 5 years, and they used to have the shows like out in the main area, like where the kids were playing and stuff. And so they had like a deal with the local television too. And so for the TV tapings, like early on, they were out in the main area, so you could see like the go-karts and like the mini golf and like all that in the background of the wrestling. But then they got a little bit more serious about it, and they put it in like the party room in the back. So, but you could still see like the batting cages and stuff in the back. So,
I feel like I can picture this in my head, but it's possible I'm just thinking of a different promotion that did something similar.
It might be like it had a fair amount of views on YouTube. Like the last time I saw it, because it was a 4-way match with Kyle Matthews, I think Jimmy Rave. And then maybe Crew Jones, I think, and there were Bryan Danielson, and it came down to like Kyle Matthews and Danielson. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, I remember that whole tour. He did all sorts of shit. So
he was definitely doing some shit.
But yeah, I mean, he definitely did a lot of different promotions during that run. I remember that. But yeah, so I guess Anime New Jersey plus plus does not get my recommendation. Very also like a very disorganized convention too, where like, I'm pretty sure. So there was this couple, this older couple that went to my first panel and then ended up going to all 4 of my panels. And I usually don't get a lot of repeat. I plug the other panels, but I don't usually get that many repeat visitors because really, you like how many other people are into like weird Japanese music, obscure Japanese music, and Japanese pro wrestling, and traveling to Japan. Those things don't really have a ton to do with each other. But the 2 music panels, obviously, but not really the other 2. But they were at every single one of my panels. And my theory after the fact was, wait a second, maybe they just went to all my panels because I was actually here and starting my panels and knew how to work my computer. Because between me and my friend, I think we went to like 6 different panels throughout the weekend where either somebody no-showed completely, so there was no panel, or like they couldn't get their computer to work or something. So it was like, and because they were like, there's like no tech staff, there was like no staff confirming that you were there to check in with. Like when I tried to check in for my panels, like I do at every other convention, they were just like, why are you telling me this? I don't care. And I was just like, okay. So then as the weekend went on, I'm like, oh, now I understand why they're like all these panels are no showing, because they're not really checking anything. So yeah, it was so I think that couple just started going to all my panels because they're like, at least this person is here and seems to know what they're doing, basically. So, because it's like for that many panels that were for just 2 people to go to throughout the weekend to be canceled, that's never happened to me at a convention. So it's very not a great con. Kind of thumbs down for them, but what are you going to do? I guess you live and learn. I got at the end of the day, I got drunk at a suburban New Jersey Hilton. There's worse ways to spend a weekend, I guess. But the shows we're going to talk about today, we're going to start out with Sendai Girls, which was from this past Sunday. So yesterday, November 16th, the Chihiro Hashimoto 10th anniversary event, Kai Butsu a Decade, Korakuen Hall. That'll be the first show we talk about. We also have a Marigold Korakuen, 4 more nights of the Stardom Goddess of Stardom Tag League, and then we'll wrap up with 1 Noah Osaka show. As it turns out, the other one, I'll give the results for it quick, but the other one we could not do because it was on VOD on the Wrestle Universe. It hasn't actually aired yet. But yeah, so for the Marigold and the Sendai Girls, and really the Noah too, to get through all this stuff on top of being at this convention, I had to skip some of these matches. So I will pitch over to my fellow John here, who did watch everything on these 2 shows, for some brief thoughts on some of these matches. So starting out with Sendai Girls, excuse me, with the Chihiro Hashimoto 10th anniversary show. This show, they didn't announce a crowd number, but they just said sold out. And it does look really full. So I don't know why they didn't just give a number on top of like just saying sold out. It's very annoying for me personally, because like considering I try to keep like a tracker of every promotion's average Korakuen attendance, and I can't really add this to their tracker without a number, especially since like there's different setups and stuff. So, but yeah, you could see like there are people on one of the balconies, and I don't know, it's just very annoying that they didn't give an actual number. But either way, it seems to have done very well. The opening match, this would be one of the matches I did not see, was Yuna and who was your partner? Yura Suzuki? Yuna and Yura Suzuki defeating Chi-Chi and Soy. Yuna pinning Soy in 806 with a missile dropkick. So what did you think of this match, John?
Do you know how old Soy is?
Soy? No, I haven't. Off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay, because that was my biggest question after the match, because I saw she was on a Gambare show recently that I watched, and I was like, this woman moves like she's been in wrestling a long time, but she has like a young face. So I'm very curious about that. I need to like look that up. Because like she doesn't move well at all.
Yeah, so her the cage match profile does not list an age for her. It just gives a birthday of March 23rd, but it does not list her actual age or birth year. So
That was just my big takeaway. Like, Chi-Chi is really good. The match was fine, like not much to it, but like, yeah, Soy is just like a question mark for me because she just seems like she's moving in a very labored way. And
Yeah, she's a very. I've seen her before. She's a very weird wrestler, and
yeah,
not
yeah.
doesn't she stands out, but not necessarily in a good way. So, Yura Suzuki is from the Alma Libre thing. So I always that's like a I forget where the fuck that promotion's based, but she wrestles a lot in Sendai Girls. So I've seen her before. So, the second match on the show, I did see. This was the finals of the Jaja Uma tournament, the young wrestler tournament this year, which was Senka Akatsuki defeating Spike Nishimura in 9:15 with the diving body press. So Senka, who of course is from Marvelous, as I think most people know, she joins the following list of winners. I'm just going to read them off real quick because this tournament's been held. It's been held more recently, but it's been held very like across all different dates. So the very first winner was a wrestler by the name of Sendai Sachiko, also known as Sachiko Kanari. I'm not really familiar with her. She won the first one in 2009. So don't think I was watching Sendai Girls in 2009, I have to be honest. The second wrestler who won this tournament is today known as Mei Sierra in Stardom. At the time, she was still known as Mei Hoshizuki when she was in Sendai Girl, or she was in Marvelous, another Marvelous wrestler. But yeah, that was in 2020. Then the tournament came back at the very end of 2021, ending in 2022, and the current Diana champion, Haruka Umasaki, won it. And then the last time it was held was the very end of 23 into the very start of 24, and the tournament was won by Zonas from Evolution. So that is your list of winners that Senka is now added her name to this list. So some interesting names there. I mean, I don't know what Sendai Sachiko went on to do. The name does not ring a bell for me at all, so I don't think she really. I don't know. I think when I looked her up, I think she was done by like 2015 or something. So I guess that makes sense. Obviously, Mei Sierra has gone on to pretty great success in Stardom already. Only haven't been there for not even 2 years yet. And, Haruka Umesaki is a champion of a smaller promotion. And Zonas also, I think she's still the Evolution champion. Let me just check that actually. I mean, she definitely won the very first Evolution title match, or the Evolution title tournament when they held it. I'm just curious if she lost the belt yet. She did lose it on November 3rd. So yeah, Zonas won the belt, beating Chi-Chi in the finals on July 5th of this year, and she lost the belt to Michiko, the former Cassandra Miyagi from Sendai Girls, and also Michiko Miyagi in Stardom, on a Gleech show. Early back the big show at Yokohama Buntai that did like 700 people at Buntai. Allegedly, yeah, it looked even smaller. But yeah, Michiko beat Zonas on November 3rd, so earlier this month, to become the second Evolution Strong Women's Champion. So there you go. No longer the current Evolution Champion, but yeah. But we'll see what Senka can do here. But yeah, as far as the actual match itself, first of all, I appreciated the recap video of the tournament for those of us like me who haven't been watching it at all. So that was cool. But yeah, I thought this match was good. Spike did a good job trying to target Senka's right arm early. She did a really nicely applied cross arm breaker before Senka was able to quickly make the ropes. And like I said, they only went 9 minutes, but the match was good. And, the flying splash looked good for the finish. So I went 3.5. Good match. And we'll see. I said good like 50 times during that last little bit there. But yeah, we'll see what happens from here. We ended up getting a very big match announced for Senka during the Marigold show, which I'll get to. Well, I might as well just get to it now because it didn't happen during the show. So Senka came backstage during the Marigold show to finally get the match with Sareee Yamaoka, who is a very similar wrestler, another similar young wrestler with an amateur background in Marigold. They were supposed to wrestle each other earlier this year in the Dream Star Grand Prix, but Senka ended up having to miss that tournament due to, I think it was some kind of injury. I don't remember what the injury was. She got replaced by Maria from Marvelous. So the match has not happened yet, the singles match, and it will happen now on the Marvelous December 28th Korakuen Hall show. Unfortunately, I'm not going to that show. So I was a little bit like, oh, damn, I really would have liked to see that. But I already bought a ticket to JTO on the 28th, so I'm not going to make it to the Marvelous Korakuen. But yeah, I mean, that's going to happen, though, when you do these trips. It's like there's always going to be something, something else going on at the same time. But yeah, she also called out the Sendai Girls junior champion, Yuna, after this match, after she won it. Yuna did answer right away. I don't know when that match is happening, though. I tried to poke around, and Yuna has a title defense scheduled for November 23rd in Osaka against Miku Kanoe, who's recently been teaming up with Sareee during the Goddess Stardom Tag League. And I checked their other upcoming cards. I didn't see it announced for anything yet. But so I guess Senka's is getting the next title shot, whenever that might be. But we don't really know yet when that is, as far as I can tell. What did you think about this 9-minute tournament final here?
I think you summed it up pretty well. I went a little bit higher. I went 3 3/4, but my notes just read to buy all the stock that you can in Spike Nishimura. I think she's got a really high ceiling, and from what I understand, she hasn't been doing it that long. So I think she's great for her level of experience right now.
But yeah, I mean, her like I said, that cross arm breaker to me really impressed me. Like she really, she really had that in really tight, which, sometimes, especially nowadays, the wrestlers who haven't been doing this very long, like the little things, are not very good at it. So I did think that was impressive. Match number 3, this would be another one I skipped, as much as I love Shin Sakura Hirota. I just didn't have time for a comedy match. But it was Aja Kong beating Shin Sakura Hirota and Yu in 8:05. Not you, John, but the wrestler Yu. For once, I can make that joke for real because you're actually a wrestler. So, but yes, 8:05 with the 200 kilogram press. I believe the finish I did see like the very end of it, and like the finish was weird, where Yu thought because she was on top of Aja Kong at the time, Yu was pinning Hirota, that she should have gotten the pin. But she didn't. They just gave it to Kong. And I'm like, okay, that was a little bit of a weird finish. But it's a comedy match anyway, so who gives a shit?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a stickler for the rules, it will like drive you up the wall, because it kind of did for me. Because, you was on the very top of the pin, but they gave it to Aja. And it's like, anytime you see like a stacked pin, like the default is like person on top wins.
Or at least draw, usually. I've seen draw, too.
Yeah.
Like I've seen them give it to both people.
Yeah, like if you're going to do that, like the other person, like the person in the middle of the sandwich, like their shoulders, like also has to be down or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, like the shoulders weren't down or anything. So, yeah, it felt like you won, but Aja just doesn't do jobs, so...
Yeah. And like Hirota, I guess, was supposed to be Chihiro Hashimoto here, except her name was different. It was like Shin Katsushika. I don't know, but some kind of weird. It was a Japanese pun that went over my head, I guess, because I couldn't figure out what this was supposed to be. Besides, I mean, she came out to Chihiro's theme song, I think. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the funny thing was like her Chihiro costume was like very exaggerated, and then when Chihiro came out for the main event, it looked so much like the costume that Hirota was wearing. So it wasn't really a parody. It was pretty much just the outfit straight up.
Match number 4, guest starring here from Stardom, Natsupoi and Aya Sakura defeated the Bob Momo Banana team of Mio Momono and Yurika Oka. It was Poi pinning Mio in 10:34 with the fairy ring, which is that the flipping thing she does, the flipping driver. I don't know what the hell is the technical term of that move? Do you know?
Is it the one that looks like the Kofi Kingston move?
Yeah, I get right. He used to do that move, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know what you'd call it. Like if I was trying to call it in a match, I think Kofi Kingston called it like SOS or something.
Yeah. It's like it's almost like a flipping sunset flip powerbomb, kind of, but you're doing it with your legs. So yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, and you're like standing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what the technical term for it is, but yeah, it's the Poi move. She does one of her moves. But yeah, this match is great. I mean, this is one of my most anticipated matches of the night, and besides the fact that I kind of wish I'd gotten more time, it was really good. So Oka and then Mio just wouldn't stop repeatedly drop kicking poor Aya early on, just drop kick after drop kick from both girls. And then Mio finally hit a missile drop kick up the top for a 2 count at the end of that sequence. But Poi was able to tag in, had a very fun high speed back and forth sequence with Mio just before the 5-minute call, ending with the very charming double kip up spot where Poi almost didn't pull it off and then just went like safe after stopping herself from falling down. I saw a gif of that way before I saw the actual match, so I kind of already knew what happened, but Poi is very charming. How do you not love Poi? Bob came back though. Bob, I don't know. Whatever. They came back and eventually started beating the Angels with their big fluffy fruit hats. That was just amusing. But then Poi ended up pinning Oka just after the 10-minute call. Oka first took a flying knee off the top rope from Ayasakura. That looked really good, actually. Followed by Poi's fairy ring thing we just failed to identify. And then because she's kind of a gremlin, she briefly stole both the fruity hats and gave the peach one to Aya. That was funny. But yeah, very enjoyable tag match while this lasted. 3 3/4. Enjoyed the heck out of this. So.
The only thing I'd like to note before we move on is on the when they brought out like the hats, I think it was Oka did like a drop down spot and she was like holding the hat. And so I forget if it was Aya or Poi, but when they jumped over her, they slipped, but they literally slipped on the banana peel.
Oh yeah.
I thought was really good.
Yeah. Then we had Manami making the announcement of her return from injury. So that will happen on the November 22nd Fukuoka show, which is the Mika Iwata homecoming show. So there you go. And we've missed you, Manami, you and your the giant X you put up. Then we had another match I did not watch, so I'll hand it over to you, which was Dash Chisako defeating Maria in 9-16 with the Hormone Splash? Is that really... That might be a bad translation. But yes, she beat her in 9-16. How was Dash versus Marvelous's Maria?
So I was drinking last night when I watched the Sendai Girls show, and this was like the last one that I made it through before I went to bed. And my notes are 3 stars, never really got out of second gear. Okay. I tend to like Dash's matches. This one just felt like at the bottom tier of it. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I watched it yesterday and I have no memory of like anything specifically that happened. Just very paint by the numbers.
Then we had the semi-main, which was Takumi Iroha and Vani defeating Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase, the Red Energy team. Vani pinning Iwata in 10:45 with a moonsault. Good back and forth tag, nothing like spectacular, but I enjoyed it. I went like 3.5 stars. Kind of funny that Mika Iwata, who I love, but love is sometimes painful. And it's very funny that she ate the pin on Chihiro Hashimoto's anniversary show. Very, very fitting tribute. So like that's Iwata getting pinned is pretty much describes a lot of Chihiro's career. So whether she's doing the pinning of Iwata or Iwata's taking the pin in a tag match teaming up with Chihiro, it's been a lot of their careers. So any thoughts on this tag?
Mika Iwata is really good, and I want her to get more and to do better. But I think I just gotta let go of that at this point, and just she feels kind of like Kaito Kiyomiya right now, like just kind of doing her thing, just plugging along, like good matches and losses.
See, I don't think she's because Kaito to me feels like he's hit a wall like in ring. Where I don't get that feeling from Mika at all. Like Mika still feels like she's trying super hard. Whereas Kaito, it's not like Kaito's bad or anything, but in the N1 especially, I was just like, okay, this guy's not giving the same level of effort as he used to. So, I don't know. But yeah, so I put that as 2 different things, I guess. The main event, Chihiro Hashimoto defeating Sareee in a Sendai Girls world title match in 20 minutes and 56 seconds. So she made her third defense here of the Sendai Girls world title, the belt she won back from the, of course, now retired Meiko Satomura Yoyogi on March 19th. Which, by the way, Meiko Satomura's percentage going down this year in the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, she has that retirement run where she looks like she's still one of the best wrestlers in the world, just like she has for pretty much her entire career. And like she, to the point where you're just like, why is this woman even retiring? And like she put some pretty good crowds together too, including the Yoyogi show had a packed crowd where she lost the belt to Chihiro. Her Korakuen might have been the most attended Korakuen all year. I mean, they definitely looked like they were like breaking the fire code for her retirement show. And her percentage goes down. Just like, what the fuck? Like, I did not see that coming at all. I think it went down from like 24 to 21% or something. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to vote for her every year until she either gets in or more likely falls off the ballot. But like, I don't know. Like, to me, she's so totally like one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. And, you know, I understand that not everybody is lucky enough to fly to Japan either. But like, she's one of those wrestlers that's even better when you see her in person. So, you know, I mean, she just, everything with her looks so fucking crisp and looks like so snug that she just, I don't know, she's one of the most realistic looking wrestlers I've ever seen in my life, like as far as like what, you know, what she's doing in there. So yeah, her percentage definitely should have gone up and instead it went down. So I don't know. But yeah, Chihiro versus Sareee. These two have wrestled each other a bunch of times before. Entering this show, Chihiro was 3-2-2 against Sareee. Sareee did win this title from Chihiro before, June 8th, 2019. They showed it in the video before this match. In a double title match, when Sareee was also Diana World Champion at the time. She lost it back to Chihiro on October 13th. But yeah, she has the losing record. You know, she's, even before there was all this match, I guess now she's 2-4-2 against Chihiro. But she did win the previous match before this, which was back on January 16th, 2024. Which was the Sareeism Chapter 3 event. As far as this match goes, extremely physical match, as you probably expect from these two. Plenty of those chest caving forearm shots, super hard stomps, drop kicks, lariats. They did some really good stuff with Sareee targeting Chihiro's leg. She applied this like single leg lock that just really looked like it was twisting back. She was like really just twisting back on it and just really going to town. You know, Chihiro did a great job selling during that before she was able to make the ropes. And then Sareee just like stomped her in the gut and put it right back on for Hashimoto made to the ropes after another brief struggle, a second time, I should say. Sareee hit this double foot stomp on Hash, just barely managed to kick out of that just before the 15-minute call. She dumped Hashimoto on her head with a German suplex. Hash no-sold it and then killed Sareee with this delayed wheelbarrow suplex, like dropped her right on her neck, but Sareee popped right up, hit a Uranage, and that left both girls down. Sareee eventually hit something like 4 straight Uranages just before the 20-minute call. Chihiro still kicked out. Sareee then hit a wrist clutch version. That led to an even closer 2.999 kind of count, but Hashimoto then just kind of shrugged it all off, and she also shrugged off a big headbutt from Sareee too, and then just kind of hit this one big single delayed German. And I was not expecting that to be the pin at all, but it was. He did win with that German, which I know is the Albright German or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that finish was pretty weak. It didn't help that both girls no-sold like a million nastier head drops during the match. I get like cumulative damage is a thing, but even with that caveat, it just felt like Chihiro just kind of decided like, okay, now it's time to win. And did it with like a much the German itself I didn't think looked that good is the problem. So that's like, I don't know. It just felt like a much weaker move than all the other offense she had just eaten from Sareee. So, you know, the match still fucking owned. I just don't see it as a match of the year contender, given the ending was a little flat. It seems most people, well, I shouldn't say most people, but it's doing really well in Cage Match right now. So let me just see if it's still where it was before. Right now on Cage Match, it is at a 9.57 based on 39 votes. I think it's actually gone up since I last checked it. So yeah, that would be like the equivalent of like 4 3/4, which obviously would be a match of the year contender. I don't see it at that level. I have it at 4 1/4. So awesome match, just not quite at that level for me. And I've seen way better matches from Sareee this year, especially. But still a great match. I feel like one of those times where I'm burying a match that was great because I just don't have it at the same level as some other people. But I don't know. How did you feel? You were in the match of the year contender camp?
No, I went about 4 stars even on it. I agree with most of what you're saying. I'm curious about like the German suplex because I thought the German suplex was awesome. So like, what do you look for? Like, what's your preferred flavor of German suplex? Like the stalling one?
Yeah, I mean the stalling one can look really good. I just thought it didn't seem like it landed that hard, and maybe it's just because they did so many. Like Chihiro did a couple like those wheelbarrow Germans where she dropped Sareee right on her neck, and that looked obviously really really sick. So the last one just kind of like I don't know, didn't feel like she landed very hard. So it kind of took me out of it, just given how impactful the other Germans in the match were.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the German. I agree that the finish was a little bit out of nowhere, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably where we differ is the finish there. But I mean, yeah, like it was a really good match, but it's not going to crack my top 10. Maybe like a top 20, top 30. But I think they have a lot better match in them. Which, I mean, maybe it's because Saree's working like the Stardom tournament. Like she didn't want to go, all out. But I mean, if they had gone like another 10 minutes, like, yeah, it'd definitely be a match of the year.
There you go. Good. So for what I saw, and none of the other stuff sounded bad or anything. This was a very good show. Just a lot of good stuff on this show. Main event was great. And I think most people would have that as a top level show. So Sendai Girls, their booking is a little weird sometimes, but their wrestling is almost always really good. So,
well, can I ask you a question real quick before we move on?
Sure.
So, how do you think that they're able to like increase the crowd size with their booking seemingly being as nonsensical as it is? Because it seems like they're up, and it's not necessarily like. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like why the booking is how it is, but like the crowd is just really into it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I think their last Korakuen wasn't quite this level of crowd. But I mean, their top stars are undoubtedly over. I think first of all, and this was a 10th anniversary show for Chihiro, so I think they were able to easily draw the crowd who wanted to come see Chihiro. I mean, you saw all the people in the crowd with like the dual color like
the towels,
yeah, it was like magenta or purple or something, purple and green or magenta and green or something for Chihiro. So yeah, I just think they have a few very very over wrestlers, and maybe it doesn't matter to them that the booking is kind of nonsense. I mean, the wrestlers are over. The wrestlers are over.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me. But yeah, I mean, the shows are great. It's just not much to sink your teeth into, like booking wise. But
yeah, I mean, they have such a tiny roster too. That's probably just difficult to book.
Right.
Like long term, like interesting stuff. So you get weirdness like Mika Iwata losing to Sareee and then coming out to challenge Chihiro over the title and then just losing again. But it's a lot of things with Mika Iwata and losing. So. But yeah, there you go. There's your Sendai Girls show. Now, what's coming up for them? They have 2 shows in the next week, which is actually 2 kind of big-ish shows or medium, I guess, smaller size, but they're both kind of have interesting stuff. So the first one is November 18th at the Sendai Pit. This one I will be able to talk about next week because this show is airing. They're both VOD, and this one will air before my next podcast recording. So this show has a main event of. It's another pair of guest stars from Stardom. It'll be Sareee and Lady C taking on Chihiro and Yu, the Team 200 kilogram. So that'll be interesting. And I wonder if they're going to set up like a Sareee versus Chihiro title match. Or that'd be difficult to do because they're both champions. Now I think about it. So, but yeah, that match will happen. It's not for the Sendai Girls tag titles either, even though I'm pretty sure they're still the champions. Then we have the semi-main, which is Dash Chizako and Miku Kanoe against the Red Energy team of Mika Iwata and Miyuki and God, why did I say Miyuki? It's not her name. Mika Iwata and Miyuki. Oh, it is her name, Miyuki Takase. It's very like when they put like the English like that, it just kind of just like Miyuki with nothing else. I'm like, wait a second, that doesn't sound like her name, but it's just her first name. A big match for Spike Nishimura. She's facing Hiryo Matsumoto, so that's kind of cool. Getting in there with a joshi veteran for Spike, I'm sure that's exciting for her. And then we also have Chi-Chi teaming up with Ryo Mizunami to take on Bub Bub Miu Banana, Mio and Yurika Oka. And then the opener is Yuka Satsuki against Yuna. Not for the Sendai Girls Junior title, even though Yuna is the champion. The other show this week, this one we won't be able to cover because it doesn't air until next Wednesday or something. But it's taking place next week. This is November 22nd, the Mika Iwata 10th anniversary show from Fukuoka. The main event, and I'm definitely going to watch this show either way because there's some cool stuff on it, and maybe I'll get to it the following week's episode. But yeah, the main event is Sayori Ano coming in for this show, another Stardom wrestler, teaming up with Ryo Mizunami against Red Energy, Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase. The semi-main is the next Sendai Girls World Tag Title match. More Stardom participation. It'll be Fukuoka Double Crazy, Hazuki and Koguma, challenging Team 200 Kilogram, Chihiro and Yu. We have another singles match for Spike. They kind of are doing a series for her here. Here she's going to face Dash Chizako. Bub Bub Miu Banana taking on Miku Kanoe and Hagane. Chi-Chi and Veini facing Hiryo Matsumoto and Manami's return match. And the opener, Yura Suzuki against Yuna. I guess this is non-title. Okay, so I guess Yuna's not defending the junior title against either of these people. So I don't know who her next junior title, or when they'll do that Yuna versus Senka junior title match. But yeah, it's not affected by either of these matches apparently. Okay, so there's what's coming up for Sendai Girls. But yeah, some cool stuff and some stuff I'm looking forward to there. It's kind of a bummer they're seemingly not running Japan at all during Wrestle Kingdom week. Whereas I think last year they did run a Shinjuku face show around Wrestle Kingdom week time. But yeah, they already have I believe their January schedule out, and they definitely have their December schedule out. They're not running anything around Wrestle Kingdom. They're running Sendai Pit on December 26th. And they're running Shinkiba First Ring, but all the way back on December 21st. So, well before most people will be getting to Japan. And then they're running Shinkiba First Ring again, but on January 11th. So, I can't, that's a 6 o'clock p.m. start, or 6:30 p.m. start. So I leave that morning. So yeah, I can't, or I leave that evening. So I'll already be on my way back. But yeah, even then, that's a lot of people are leaving way before that. So it's not barely really part of Wrestle Kingdom week. So what are you going to do, I guess? But that's there's always one or two promotions I've noticed on these trips where they just never run anywhere near me. And this time I guess it's Sendai Girls. So last time it was Noah for some reason. I just kept missing Noah. But now we got Marigold. Let's go over to them too. They ran another Korakuen earlier today, actually November 17th. So again, there's a show I missed a few of the matches. The opener was Komomo Minami and Shoko Koshino defeating Hummingbird and Yuka Yamazaki in 750. Siyoko pinned Hummingbird, which is very weird considering Hummingbird got a title shot later. Some very Sendai Girls-esque booking, I guess. But this would be one of the ones I missed. So what did you think of this match, John?
I went 1 3/4.
Oh, I missed a real disaster, it sounds like.
Yeah. So I've watched, I've binge watched everything that we are watching to talk about today. And so everything kind of runs together. But I'm trying to remember what it was. I should have taken better notes, but there was a weird thing on the pin. Yeah, the pin, I think somebody jumped in to break up a pin, but they didn't hit the person that was making the cover. They just grabbed their own partner's foot, but the ref stopped counting anyways, counted it as a breakup. So it was weird. And then afterwards, Let's see. Who did you say won the match again?
It was Kyoko pinning Hummingbird.
Okay, so then Hummingbird and Yamazaki like started fighting like their way to the dressing room, and like on the first strike that they fought, like the crowd kind of went, "Oh," and then like it was like a half fight. Like they kind of shoved and like pushed or whatever, but they didn't follow through on it. And so then like one of them just starts to leave, and then the other one starts like chasing them, and then like they exchange strikes, but then like they just start walking to the back. So it's like they were supposed to do like a brawl kind of, but like they didn't commit to it. So it was just really weird and really sloppy. So yeah, it was kind of terrible actually.
Yeah, sounds pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, I forgot to mention too the attendance. So the announced attendance was just 785. It definitely didn't look very full, that's for sure. This was down from 887 last month, which was headlined by a Mayu Iwatani Superfly title defense against Sareee Yamaoka. And in fact, this is their lowest Korakuen attendance since all the way back on April 25th, when they announced 680 for the Marigold versus Marvelous Gauntlet main. And that would have been just before Mayu Iwatani jumped from Stardom. So the lowest crowd they've done since Mayu came to this promotion. But I mean, it's not that abnormal, I think, for the next Korakuen after a big show to be down. The same thing happened to Stardom for their next Korakuen after their Old Award show. And here, the Korakuen after the big Ryogoku show was down. But yeah, just not a great number, though, that's for sure. Match number 2, Chan Yota and Arina Yamanaka defeated Minami Yuki and Nagase Tachibana. This match went 9:47, and it was Chan Yota pinning Yuki. Pretty fun back and forth tag match here. I didn't want to skip this one, even though it was pretty deep on the undercard, because I've enjoyed the Chan Yota and Arina team so far. But yeah, nothing you have to watch or anything, but fun enough. And Chan Yota pinned Yuki, like I mentioned, with a jackhammer. So 3 1/4. Pretty good little match here. I like the, I don't know, I wouldn't call them like, well, I guess it's like they're trying to push them as like muscle and brain. I guess they're both on the taller side. But yeah, I like the Chan Yota and Arina team. So what did you think?
I think Arena has a lot of presence. Like decent enough match. Everybody still feels kind of inexperienced, but I think if Arena can kind of put it together a little bit more, she's already got like the presence and presentation aspects down.
Yeah, totally. Then we had the third match, and this is another one I skipped. So this was Darkness Evolution, Nagisa Nozaki and Rei Seto defeating Kazuna Tanaka and Megaton. It was Rei pinning Megaton in 10-13. Any thoughts on this tag match?
I'm so disappointed that you skipped like the opener and the third match, because those were the two that I think were like the worst matches on the show, and I really wanted to hear what you thought about them. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. I went like 2 1/4 on it, which like I feel like I probably should have went lower. Not a big fan of Megaton. Kazuna
no one is except Japanese audience members of Japanese Marigold crowds for some reason are big fans of Megaton for reasons I will never understand.
Well, they weren't even like super into her in the match until like the end. Yeah. But Tanaka was like the most interesting one here to me. Like there's stuff that she does that's really, really good. Like her bridges on like the suplexes that she does are like really nice. Like it's like she's on her tiptoes and like she's bridging off of her nose. Like it's an amazing looking bridge. But then like there was a point where she was in a choke, like Nozaki had her in like a choke sleeper, and her face was like completely emotionless. Like no like panic, no fear, no like, oh, I need to get out of this. It's like you could just look at her eyes and like the wheels were turning on like what the next spot was going to be. So yeah, like the stuff that she does good, she does really well, and the stuff that she does bad is like really bad.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. Then we had this match was awesome. Mai Sakurai defeating Nao Ishikawa in 11:22. Mai Sakurai, I mean, she's been a wrestler I've liked. I liked her in Stardom. I liked what I saw of her, but like she's really, and early Marigold and stuff. But lately, she's hit another level ever since she just decided to be a complete asshole. And that's pretty much what she did here, where she was just totally fucking vicious, just fucking like killing Now with these face wash kicks early on, and just totally bullying her. Which, she's like on the bigger side for a joshi anyway. She's like 5'5", and and she really has been leaning into like just bullying these smaller wrestlers in Marigold, and it's really, really working for her. They brawled a bit on the floor. Now like reversed a suplex attempt and suplexed her out there, and she was also going after Mai's previously injured hand. They went back in the ring and now just kind of kept trying to fight back from underneath. She nearly pinned Mai with a sudden roll-up after blocking an STO, but Mai was able to hit the STO on her second try, get her in the STF, and that resulted in an immediate tap-out. I went 4 stars flat in this. I thought this ruled. And, Cage Match, I guess, agrees with me so far. They have an 8. They have it even higher than I do, actually. They have an 8.45. So, yeah, they definitely, they think it was like 4 1/4. So, I'm glad I'm not on an island with this one because I thought this match was awesome.
No, it was fantastic, and it felt like a show saver up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, like, because from what you said, the 2 out of the 3 matches I didn't watch were pretty bad. So,
yeah.
The next match, this one's cage match, is also a bit higher than me on, but I liked it. The Marigold Superfly title, Mai Iwatani beat Coco in 8:51. So Coco is a 15-year-old freelancer. I'm not super familiar with her, to be honest. She seems to be related a lot to those like lucha shows that they're running in Japan, I guess. I guess that's where she comes from. I don't know if I've ever seen her before. If I have, I just forgot probably. But, this was V4 attempt for Mayu. She's had this belt since the Shine Forever show back in May at Yoyogi when she won it from Victoria Yuzuki. And Mayu was pretty rough with the kid. She like pulled out some of her purple hair extensions at one point, which is one of the only times I've ever heard Mai Iwatani get booed in my life by a crowd.
She did apologize, though.
She beat her with the Dragon Suplex all without much trouble. Good match. It never got to any kind of neck gear to me, though, so I went 3.5.
Yeah, no, I died when she pulled the hair out, and then like she did the bow apology, and the crowd still booed the apology. So
that was pretty funny. After the match, Mayu nominated Hummingbird as her 5th challenger for the Superfly title. I'm not sure if we got a date for that yet. Maybe that's December 6th in Sapporo for one of these 2 shows. I don't know. If they gave the date, I didn't catch it. But then she said, Takumi Iroha showed up with the GHC women's title belt over her shoulder. And apparently, as the English commentators explain, which I appreciate them explaining for me, Mayu showed up on a Monday Magic episode recently and like pointed at their title. So here's Iroha. And Mayu, of course, pointed out that if she wins, she'll be the first person to win both the IWGP and GHC women's titles. So I guess that would be kind of cool. Although, as I talked about a lot the last time they brought the GHC title to Marigold when they did that double title match with Takumi and Utami Yashishita, the GHC women's title doesn't really mean anything yet, especially since it's mostly focused on these, little Monday Magic Shinjuku face shows. So I don't know. I mean, hopefully Mayu can elevate this belt if she does win it. But yeah, they announced it for January 3rd at Old Ward Gym, the Marigold first Dream show this year, the pay-per-view, which I was hoping it might be for the December 27th Korakuen, since I'm actually going to that show. I'm going to DDT on the 3rd, so I can't go to the Old Ward show. But what are you going to do? You can't always get what you want. And again, I'm sure me complaining about, I'm only going to DDT instead of Marigold. It's like, oh yeah, first world problems, John. Probably, but yeah, it's maybe I'll get lucky and they'll save like a big Victoria white belt defense for the December 27th show. I guess we'll have to see. I thought maybe they were going that direction later, but then they broke my heart all over again, as we'll get to. But yeah, any thoughts on either of these matches they're setting up? I assume Mayu's winning. I don't know why she wouldn't be.
What do you think the interplay is between her retaining the featherweight title and winning the GHC? Do you think they would give her both at the same time?
I think so. I mean, she's trying to do this thing where she wants to be the first person to win the Grand Slam. It's confusing to me they're counting the GHC women's title as part of the Grand Slam and not the tag titles, but I guess it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it would kind of be interesting to have her hold both titles, and I'm sure she could do separate title defenses and keep doing the 15-minute Superfly defenses, and then then also the only 60-minute belt, since the normal red and white belts are 30-minute defense belts, just like 30-minute time limits, just like the Stardom red and white belts. But yeah, that'd be interesting, I think. But we'll have to see what happens.
So what you're saying is she's trying to unite the wrestling world and seize the media production.
Sure.
Since that's worked so well for Takeshita.
Yeah. Then we had the Twin Star titles, the semi-main event. The Darkness Revolution team, Chiaki and Misa Matsue, defeating Sareee Yamaoka and Victoria Yuzuki in 1933. Well, this match didn't feel that long. And that was Misa pinning Yuzuki. So the match, this is the V1 attempt for Darkness Revolution. They won the belts from Magenta from Marvelous on October 26th at Grand Destiny, not Shine Forever. I apologize to that guy who got really mad at me on YouTube about it, and I should have known. Grand Destiny, not Shine Forever, like I said over and over again during that episode. But yeah, the match had a really hot start, I thought. Then I saw it slow down quite a bit when they went to the usual crowd brawling stuff. And even in the ring after that, I thought it was a bit slow going for a little while, mostly just Chiaki beating down Sareee, but not in a very interesting way. But we got a nice hot tag to Yuzuki, and that got a lot of excitement going. She killed Chiaki with the dropkick against the ropes, like Poi style, or other people did that too, but think of Poi right away. But yeah, the dropkick against the ropes, that got a 2 count. Misa hit a very nice flying knee, basically like Kenta Bushiaku knee style. And then she also had a draping DDT, just as we got the 15-minute call. But Sareee came in to change the momentum right back and help Yuzuki do this cool like double team backdrop suplex flying lariat combo. That did look pretty cool. And Yuzuki then hit her standing Victoria shooting, little standing like spinning press she does. But Chiaki pulled the ref out to break up the pin because she's a dastardly woman. There was no ref, and Chiaki then hit Yuzuki over the head with her chair. Then she and Misa sort of double drop kicked the chair into her head. That didn't look that good though. Like they had her like draped over the chair in the way that, I don't know, just didn't look very impactful. Sareee tried to cut them off on the turnbuckle, but got powerbombed off of there instead onto the chair, which was on top of Victoria. That looked fucking brutal. I was like, oh my God. Chiaki then hit a guillotine leg drop off the top on Yuzuki. Misa covered her, but Yuzuki just barely got a foot in the ropes to get a break. And then it got like just a really kind of fun, if slightly chaotic, closing stretch. My dad's trying to drop in on me. Dad, I'm doing a podcast, so I'll call you back. very smooth transition there, right? But yes, thank you. Chiaki hit a guillotine leg drop off the top. I think I said that already. See, that part I was not smooth about. That I was so smooth before that. But yeah, so Yuzuki, she almost gets a flash pin on Misa out of nowhere, right back. But then after that, they go right back to double teaming Yuzuki. And then Misa hits that, I forget what the fuck she calls it, that spinning driver she does. It's almost like a falcon arrow, but also hooking the leg. I don't remember what she calls it, though, unfortunately. But yeah, that got the pin, and it got them their first defense. So yeah, this match is it's one of those matches where I'm like, it had its warts, but I still really liked it. Probably because three of these 4 wrestlers are like 3 of my favorites in the entire promotion. The only wrestler here I'm not that high on is Chiaki. She's all right, but the other all 3 wrestlers I really like. So yeah, 3 3/4, very good match. Can quite get to 4 for me, but I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, the only real note that I had was like what you were saying about like the chair spot. Like that's brutal. Like I would never want to take that. The power bomb onto the chair onto Yuzuki. because like the edges of the chair were like on her sternum, and then like she was like trying to hold it. Like when I saw that, I was like, you're going to break a hand, you're going to break a forearm, like at least trying to take that. So yeah, that was really scary. I'm also just curious about like Chiaki and what like she's a fan of in wrestling, because she did like the Bobby Eaton Alabama Jam, and
Yeah,
then
the guillotine leg drop. Yeah.
yeah, and then she goes for like the claw slam too. I'm like, is she just like a really big like 1970s, 1980s fan, or like is she being fed these moves by somebody? It's just like, hey, nobody's doing a claw slam these days. You ought to do that.
Well, the Great Okan's doing it, I guess. That's about it.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Her and the Great Okan. Afterwards, so what did you give the match? I'm just curious.
I went like 3.25.
Okay, so you didn't like it as much as I did, but it's fine. I fully admit I'm a mark for 3 of these wrestlers. So, speaking of being a mark, I was so fucking hoping when Misa grabbed that white belt that she was going to face Yuzuki on December 27th at Korakuen. I was like, please, 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 please. That would have been such an amazing match. Fresh off the plane, half dead. I would have gotten up for that one anyway. But no, it was for December 6th in Sapporo instead. So boo. The people of Sapporo are very lucky because I would have loved to see those two go at it. But instead it's happening, December 6th. So there you go. Then we went to the main event. This was so fucking weird.
Yes.
Chika Goto, this match was scheduled to be non-title. I guess Go Chika had been asking for it to be a world title match. She asked again. She keeps getting denied, apparently, leading up to it. I didn't watch that many of the shows. I didn't really watch any of the shows leading up to it, but it's what I gather from the Reddit and some other people I've seen talking that she'd asked this multiple times. So she asked one more time here for the match. Miku Ano basically says you're not worth it, and it would lower the value of the title, so no. Chika then asked Rossi Ogawa instead. Rossi puts up a fucking X and makes her look like even more of a geek. Which, by the way, all the people who fucking complained about a certain booker involving himself in a comedy match, which we're going to get to when we get to Stardom, fucking Taro Khan did not make anybody look as stupid as Rossi Ogawa made poor Go Chika look here. Because when he put that X up with a smile on his face, like, no, lady, you don't get it. He made her look fucking dumb, whether he got involved physically or not. So, but yeah, I mean, just a very, very awkward angle. Go Chika got boos from the crowd too, because it seemed like they were tired of her asking for this title shot they didn't think she earned. So just very weird booking, unless this is leading to a heel turn for her, which, I guess it could, even if it is leading to a heel turn for her, it just ended up being a very awkward angle here. And there's a lot of awkward, weird stuff going around with the red belt these days. That's all I'm going to say. So, because remember Miku Ano, like, pinning Utami with her own move at the end of the Sumo Hall show after Utami had complained nonstop about that match not being the main event, was pretty awkward. And now we have this awkward moment here too, which is very weird. And, it felt like it really lingered over the entire match. Miku Ano beat her in 14:36. I don't know. I just didn't. She submitted her with a cloverleaf, and I don't know what the point of any of this was besides, like I said, borderline burying Go Chika. So 3.25. It wasn't bad or anything, but like it never felt like it clicked for me or for the live crowd after the very weird angle at the start.
Yeah, I liked the giant swing that they did on the floor. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
The finish was also horrifying, where Aono did like a combination Styles Clash / Kawada driver, and Goto landed right on her face. I don't know if you saw afterwards that her nose was bleeding after that. Yeah, so that was scary. I agree. I think the only thing you could do is either turn her heel, or this is part of like some redemption storyline where like we have to humble her before we can make her. But yeah, it's like you said, still awkward. Like regardless, I mean, it can be forgiven if it's part of a larger story. But for the night and for the moment, she didn't come across like a star. Is she also the one? I remember hearing about like Rossi was like burying someone at like a press conference or like on Twitter for like their appearance? Was that
No,
Goto?
that was Utami, I think, unless she also did it to her. But yeah,
Oh.
Utami was the one who was like tweeting about being fat or something. And I was like, okay, and she was the world champion at the time. So yeah, I don't know. There's very, very weird vibes around Marigold. He buried the entire roster at one point and said they don't come across as stars in social media. I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's a weird dude. What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Afterward, Mai Sakurai came out to challenge for the red belt. I mean, that did make sense because Mai beat her for the white belt this past year on January 3rd. You could also argue they'll be doing the same match 2 years in a row on the same show, but for a different title is a little weird, but that's what they're doing. January 3rd at Ota Ward, Mai Sakurai versus Miku Ano. Am I very disappointed I'm not going to see that match live also? Yes, I am. But what are you going to do? But yeah, they're 1-1 and 2 altogether. Miku's win came all the way back on February 11th, 2020. Technically still pre-COVID, like pre-COVID shutdown. That was an Actress Girls show at Shinkiba. And they also went to 2 time limit draws in Marigold, which was the 2024 and 25 Dreamstar GPs. So yeah, seems like Miku's probably going to beat her and retain the red belt and finally get a win back on her in Marigold. But it's Rossi booking, so who knows? Maybe Mai Sakurai will beat her in 5 minutes with her own move. Who can tell? So, but yeah, some very good stuff in the show. Some stuff I really enjoyed, and just a lot of weirdness too. So it's kind of the Marigold way, I guess. What did you think of the show overall?
Highs and lows. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's sort of Marigold in a nutshell. Some really bad stuff, some really green wrestlers, some scary spots where people almost died, and nobody's a star, and we're all looking for the person who did this, Rossi.
Yeah. I mean, Mai came off like a fucking star, and she has throughout this whole thing, but I don't think she's going to win the red belt, though, so. But yeah. And Victoria, they've done a good job, Victoria, too, I feel like bringing her along. So, Misa, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't say his booking's been all bad. I mean, there's certain people he's protected very well. Victoria's protected well. Misa Matsui comes off really well, winning the tag titles finally and now beating the white belt champion to earn a United National title shot. I mean, he does an okay job with certain people, or even a pretty good job, but then there's other people where it's what is the vision with Go Chica here? It's very strange. So they don't have a lot coming up, really. I mean, the next show, I guess, like I said, that they have the doubleheader in Sapporo on December 6th. It's like a day-night doubleheader. All we know is the Superfly title match, as far as I know. They did a Shinjuku Face show on December 10th. They're back in Osaka December 13th. And then really their next other big show is the Korakuen show I'm going to on the 27th, December 27th. So yeah, kind of a quiet month coming up for them. Then they do the Shinjuku Face show December 31st on New Year's Eve. And the January 3rd, they're calling this one Marigold True Victory, it says, not First Dream. At least according to the website, I don't know. But yeah, well, True Victory is the name of the tour, so I actually don't know if they're doing that. But it says True Victory 2025, Ota Ward Jam on the website. So there you go. That's January 3rd. But yeah, there is your Marigold talk. So let's go back to Stardom now for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Again, usually we put them a little higher on the order here, but the Goddesses Tag League is not the most important time of the year in Stardom, that is for sure. But yeah, it was a weird week. I mean, there's a lot of shows. It was 4 shows in total. None of these drew particularly well, so a lot of the fans were really not, fans are not in this tag league either. And I thought 2 of the shows were good, and 2 of the shows were not good. And we'll get into which was which. But they're using this tour to kind of give people time off and let people do indie dates and stuff, and they're spreading it out a lot. And each show only has a few tournament matches, which can be a good thing for the wrestlers' rest, I'm sure. But when you end up with 2 shows like the ones we had in Sapporo this week, where a ton of the top stars all had off at the same time, it did not help those shows, nor did it help the momentum of the tournament. So that was kind of the issue, I think. But yeah, the first show we're going to talk about was Wednesday, November 12th from the Sendai Pit. It did 308 people, which was down a lot from the 470 they did at the 5-star in August. There's no comparable show in last year's Tag League. It's higher than 275 they did for a random house show September 2024, though, if you want to say it was slightly up from that. The opener of the Tag League show was one of, if not the best match we're going to talk about here, which was Natsupoi and Soriano defeating Yuna Mizumori and Mei Sierra in 11:30. Poi pinning Yuna Mizumori. But yeah, this was like probably my most anticipated match. I mean, one I was really, really looking forward to. 4 wrestlers I really like a lot. And, they started with this so they could put it on the YouTube stream, which I see people not understand that. Like, oh, why do they put a big match right at the start of the show so often? Because they put the first few matches on YouTube on these live stream shows, and they, I guess, want to put like a big match for the free people to try to convince them to sign up. But yeah, Poi and Unimon started off with the time-honored Joshi tradition here of hitting your best friend in the chest as hard as you possibly can. Or not best friend, but like hitting a good friend and a stablemate in the chest as hard as you possibly can. But yeah, very fast-paced tag match, as you probably expect from these 4. At one point, Poi got caught in this like non-stop dropkick loop from both Mei and Yuna on both sides. That was really cool. But Poi was able to come back, though, and pin Yuna after some double team work with her and Sayori, leading up into her, the little front flip cradle thing that we talked about before, the SOS, I guess. But yeah, match was a ton of fun. Again, one of the best tag matches in the league so far. And, Poi was kind of worked the entire match herself almost, and, which is interesting. But yeah, this kept Sayori and Poi undefeated, moving to 3-0. And at this point, this was the only time we were going to see them on this episode. They didn't have another tag match, during the remaining 3 shows. So they're still undefeated as of now, and they don't have another match until November 23rd. So very good match, 3 3/4, one I enjoyed a lot. So there you go. What did you think of this opener here?
About the same. The only major note that I had was I liked the constant rotation of dropkick spot. I just wish it would win a match at some point, because in theory, getting kicked that many times, either the kicks aren't doing damage and it's not a good move, or it should win a match at some point. Yeah, I think it just undercuts the value of it to do it over and over and over again and it not lead to a finish, at least every once in a while.
I guess I get what you mean there. Match number 2. So you said you didn't watch the non-tournament matches, so I'll go through these quick. Rana Yagami and Momo Kogo defeated Hanako and Rion in 8:37. Rana pinning Rion. So one of the things I think is weird about these shows too, if you're also like me and watching the whole shows, is they have these non-tournament 2 versus 2 tags, which to me just kind of really interrupts the momentum of the show and makes it weird. Where you're like, okay, why do we have another 2 versus 2 tag during a tag league that's not a tournament match? So it's kind of weird booking, and I don't love that. Neither of these teams are tournament teams, but there's 3 of the 4 in the tournament. It's just Hanako pinning up with Rion when usually they team up, on other shows. Usually they team up with other stablemates, or Rion teams up with Waka and Hanako teams up with Megan Bain, or I guess actually technically isn't a stablemate. But yeah, but Hanako's partner Megan was back in the U.S. for Women's Blood and Guts, so that's what they went with here. But I don't know. I guess Waka was in a 3-way or something. But yeah, Rana tapped out Rion with her stretch thing, and there's a perfectly fine gentlewoman's 3 type match. Next match was Miyu Amasaki defeating Waka, actually, in 8:39 with her, the bridging pin thing she does. And it was a 3-way also involving Saya Kamatani. So Miyu and Waka, they both asked Saya for her help when the other one had them in an apparently inescapable side headlock, but she would not do it because they only referred to her as Kamatani-san when she wants to be called Saya-sama. So there you go. She's very specific about how she'll answer requests. But yeah, mostly a wacky comedy match, but I did enjoy it for what it was. I went 3 stars on it. So there you go. Next match was an 8-woman tag. It was Suzu Suzuki, Rina Yamashita, Bozilla, and Akira Kuragani defeating Azumi, Aya Sakura, Sayaka and Kikyo Furusawa in 12:44. Akira pinned Kikyo, or she submitted her actually with a crossface. The like multi-women tags, like the ones where there are not 2 versus 2 tags in this tour, have actually been quite good for people. Other people have been skipping them too, I'm sure. But yeah, this was another one that was good. I'm just not sure any roster in Japan right now like works consistently harder on these house shows in the multi-person tags than the Stardom roster does. And they kind of also played into the Bozilla Akira storyline here, where Bozilla seemed a little more supportive of Akira than she has in the tags. And when she saw her doing well, she started cheering for her and chanting for her at one point. And when Kikyo tapped out, Bozilla shook her hand and told her good job afterwards. So maybe starting to accept her again a little more, but it wouldn't last, as we'll see, once Akira lost another tag match from the actual tournament. Then we had another tournament match in the red block. BMI 2000, the current tag champions Natsuko Tora and Uraka defeated Sareee and Miku Kanaway in 9 minutes. Uraka pinned Miku with the packaged German. Why don't you go first, since I talked a lot about these last few matches already?
Oh, you're good. I don't know. I didn't have like a ton of thoughts. I guess it's just when you watch like a ton of tag team matches back to back to back, like I think my overall feelings on it is that the floor is really high for Stardom, like what you were saying. And I mean, when you're doing a tournament like this, like the ceiling is going to be relatively low. So everything just kind of falls in like a mid-range to me. But yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, I was like 3 stars on it, I also figured out the pattern with Saree's theme song apparently is, because this was a topic on the last episode, if the show is a live stream show, it's not muted. If it's VOD, it is muted. So there you go. Even when you're watching back a live stream, I mean, that later on, for some reason, it's still not muted. But the show was never aired live in the first place, they do mute it for some reason. But yeah, this is all right. Just like I said, Gentlewoman's 3. I'm just not a BMI 2000 person. The sooner they get these belts off them, the better. But there you go. Then we had the blue block, Sayuri and Saki Kashima. I am definitely an Anekon person because they're such a cool team together. They beat Konami and Rina in 9:21. Sayuri beating Rina. I also just realized I basically just said I'm into sisters. I don't even have a sister, so it's fine. But yes, Saki showed quite a bit more fight than usual here, even going through an honest-to-God strike exchange against Rina. I was like, wow, Saki Kashima trying. But then she gets tripped up by Konami on the outside, though, and probably learned an important lesson, which is never try. Sayuri tapped out Rina to her grounded stretch. Kind of a surprising result, I thought, because it moved the Sayuri and Saki team up to 3-1. But yeah, it's pretty good. I kind of was expecting something a little more heated, just given all the history between Sayuri and Konami. With Konami turning on her and going back to being a heel and hate when Sayuri had brought her into God's Eye. They just didn't really felt like they ever went there. I guess the feud's just dead and dusted or whatever. But yeah, 3.25 was pretty good. Just not like I thought they'd be more heated for sure. Any thoughts on this one?
No, nothing that you haven't covered.
The main event in the blue block, the team of the Reiwa Tokyo Towers get their first win in the tournament. Ami Sourei pins Saya Ida along with her teammate B Priestley. She pinned Saya in 13:21 with the Like Thunder. Anything? Why don't you go first on this one? Go. What do you think of the main event here?
So I don't watch like a ton of Stardom. I usually just kind of parachute in for like the big shows, which makes it tough. Like when you're watching a tag tournament and there's a lot of like unfamiliar people and there's like 700 people on a show and like you see a lot of like repeats and like outfits and haircuts and things like that. So like everyone kind of blends together. But the one person that stuck out the most to me is Saya Ida. I think she's fantastic. I think about 2 years ago, it was like the December show that I watched. The big one Grand Queen?
Dream Queendom. Yep, Dream
Dream Queendom, yeah. I remember seeing her and just thinking like she's got a lot of potential, and it just seems like she's really growing into that. So yeah, big fan of Sareee.
I'm ready to just declare Lady C good now. Like she's one of these wrestlers that I've always liked anyway, even when she was horrible. She just has like this likable energy to me. But now she's good, and she's not like she's great or anything, but like she's a perfectly acceptable wrestler. She took a great head bump off a German suplex from B. Priestley here, and she's maybe still a half step awkward sometimes. I guess she'll never be the world's greatest athlete. I mean, she was a school teacher before she became a wrestler. So, but she looks much more comfortable in the ring now, I think. So, I thought this was a good match. I went 3.5. It's kind of been the story of these tag league shows when they've been good. Like nothing is like blow away. You got like two good matches here, really 3 too if you want to count the semi-main, but 2 matches that were standouts to me. This and the opener with Poi and Siori against Unimon and May. So yeah, that's more than enough for me for these tag league shows. So good show.
Yeah, Lady C has a really good big boot.
Yeah, she definitely does. Ami afterward pointed out that both she and Saya Ida, who she just pinned here, have beaten Konami, which happened last week during last week's shows, and just then says that she'll be the one to take the white belt from her, which Saya Ida obviously disagreed with. So I don't know if they're building up to a number one contender match or they're going to do a 3-way for the title, which I wouldn't love that. But we'll see where that goes. Although somebody else pinned Konami too, I think, as we'll get to. So Konami been eating a lot of pins as the white belt champion. Then we had the next night, actually the very next night, which was night 5 on Thursday, November 13th. This was in Aomori at the U Tree first floor multi-purpose hall. So this was up in Tohoku in Aomori Prefecture, which is Japan's land of apples. They love their apples in Aomori. If you go I didn't go that far up in Tohoku, but I went to Sendai, and like everywhere you go, you would see like Aomori apples. We love our apples. Like, okay. Now, to be fair, the apple juice I had was really, really good. So they're probably not they're not boasting for no reason. Apparently, it was very, very good apple juice. But yeah, 420 fans for this show, which was down from 572 back in July. There were a bunch of card shuffles made because Suzu Suzuki had to miss this show due to illness. So the planned, there was supposed to be a battle of the only 2 remaining winless teams in Blue Block, with Suzuki and Rina against the Sakurawa team. But instead, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara got their first win by forfeit. So they went to 1-2, while the Suzuki and Rina team went to 0-3. Emma Maishima, who's not in the tournament, she's supposed to be in an undercard singles match. She had to miss the show due to injury, which shuffled up even more. And we lost a planned 3-way trios match, which sucks because those have been super fun in Stardom lately when they've done those. So I was kind of bummed by that. The opener was in the red block. Sareee and Miku Kanoe defeated Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. It was Miku pinning Akira in 10-14. Bozilla demanded to start this match with Sareee. She was slamming her around good. It was pretty good stuff there. She did tag out she tagged out to Akira before very long though. Miku and Akira, they were just hitting each other in the chest for a while. Bozilla tagged back in though for the ultimate size advantage against poor little Miku. But Miku somehow managed to get a Rana into a schoolboy. I don't know. Miku is she might be even smaller than Poi. If not, she's the exact same size. So they're definitely under 5 feet tall, and just looked really absurd in there with Bozilla. But yeah, she got a hot tag though to Sareee to escape with her life. Akira got some very close near falls on Miku with flash cradles just before the 10-minute call. Miku though ended up rolling through another one to get her own jackknife pin, and that gave her team the win. So the Bozilla and Sareee showdowns are really fun, and the Miku and Akira high-speed stuff together was fun too. So I went 3.5. Good opener here. Bozilla was back to being visibly frustrated at Akira though for getting pinned here. He even slapped her upside the head. But then Akira went after Miku after the match, and the two like grabbed each other by the hair and started clubbing each other some more. And then Sareee just grabbed Akira and just tossed her into the wall, which I thought was kind of funny. She's like, "Get the fuck out of here," basically. But what did you think of this one?
This might have been my favorite match of the tournament so far, actually. If not like the definitive favorite, like it's definitely up there. Early on, when Bozilla hit the Samoan drop on Sareee, she gave her time to sell, and Bozilla was able to walk around the ring and just kind of like give off that presence a little bit, which like, I don't know if that was like a Bozilla thing, like making the moment for herself, or if it was Sareee just kind of taking a moment before the next spot. But I thought that did a lot of good stuff for Bozilla, just optically, to be able to walk around and, just kind of soak it in for a second. So I love seeing wrestlers like take that second to pause and kind of show off. So yeah, that was great. Bozilla was awesome when she started with Marigold last year, and I feel like she's only gotten better. She's my second favorite German woman in wrestling right now. But everything's great. I'm loving Sareee. I'm starting to get into the Sareee might be the best wrestler in the world camp right now. So yeah, just an awesome match.
Who's your first favorite German woman?
My girlfriend.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, you have to put her ahead.
And she's really good. I'm not just saying that.
Oh, okay, got it. 6-woman tag team match. Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, and Ruraka defeated Saya Ida, Momo Kogo, and B. Priestley in 9:30. Saya pinning Momo with the Star Crusher. Standard hate stuff here. Had the crowd brawling and stuff, and Momo did get a bit of offense in on Saya toward the end before BMI 2000 came in and took over, and that let Saya finish her off. So yeah, Gentlewoman's 3 stuff here all the way. Didn't really miss much of anything. It's fine. Then we have more of these weird tags that weren't tournament matches, although in this case it was because of they were not originally scheduled because of the card shuffling with this illness and the injury. But in this case, it was Ami Sourei and Lady C beating Rana Yagami and Kikyo Furusawa. This match actually got quite a bit of time. Lady C pinged Kikyo in 13:01 with the big boot. Ami and Lady did a double giant swing on their opponents at some point. You can see Ami never does it because she was just nowhere near as good at doing the giant swing as Lady is. I did spend the entire time just terrified that Rana and Kikyo were going to collide heads because they got close a couple of times. I'm like, please be careful. But yeah, Kikyo continued to show really good underdog fire in her matches. Here she took on the larger, both their opponents are larger, and specifically the larger Lady C, repeatedly took her down to the ankle lock, but Lady was able to put her away at the big boot. So 3 1/4, pretty good stuff here. Then we had another non-tournament tag, this is replacing the one that was supposed to be a tournament match. It was Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara losing actually to Rina Yamashita and Hanako. Hanako pinning Sakura at 11:40 with the JP coaster. There was some funny comedy here. Where, first of all, during their entrance, Rina kept making Hanako do her arms, cross her arms like Suzu does with her normally to do the poser there, which Hanako was kind of annoyed about, which is funny because I just noticed that her picture on the Stardom website is literally her crossing her arms in front of her chest like that. But now she was acting like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, Hanako, you literally did it for your picture for the website. So, but yeah, so at one point Aya got up on Sayaka's shoulders so she could condescendingly pat Hanako on the head. And this outraged Hanako. She's like, you're not actually tall like I am. It was very funny. At first, she tried to get on Rina's shoulders. That was not going to work, given how much larger she is than Rina. So finally, Rina got on Hanako's shoulders so they could be the tallest again. Aya and Hanako had a pretty fire exchange, actually, towards the end, which built on the recent feud they had, and Aya over the future Stardom title, and the New Blood tag titles, actually. Aya tried to put her larger opponent down with her wide array of kicks, but Hanako was finally able to put her away with the JP coaster. So lots of fun here, especially the Hanako Aya stuff. I went 3.5 on this. It was better than quite a few actual tournament matches. So Not the next one, though. The next one was a great tournament match, I thought. But I'll let you go first, since, again, I've been talking a while. The blue block, Konami and Rina defeated Zero Knee Line, Azumi and Mika Iwata in 11:33. Konami beating Azumi with the body lock sleeper hold. What'd you think of this one?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought that beating Azumi, like, is it as big of a win as it felt like? Because it felt like it was, like, important.
It was big insofar as, like, it's like somebody close to her level, probably. So, I don't think I don't think Miyu's quite on her level. But yeah, okay. That is, I don't love that announcement either. Okay, breaking news, everybody, that I could give for somebody put this in the Wrestle Kingdom Week channel just now on the Force Wrestling Discord. We're getting a Jun Saito versus Kento Miyahara Triple Crown rematch at your Yogi Gym for the New Year's Eve show. I don't know. I'm not. I guess it's not official yet. He said Jun Saito nominates himself as Kento Miyahara's next opponent with the condition of I win all series matches, challenge for the Triple Crown. Okay. So I guess it's not quite official yet, but it seems very likely. Yeah, I don't know if I need to see that match again. They feel like they kind of ran it in the ground this year, and I never really loved it that much to begin with. So I don't know. Do you feel any differently about it?
At least it's not June and Davey Boy.
That is true. It's better than last year's, I guess. But yeah, I mean, not big on the All Japan lately, and they keep getting cut from these episodes where I'm just like, they're like the last thing I want to watch. So like, unless I have a ton of time, which I haven't really lately, they end up not getting put on these episodes or even planned. So but yeah, whatever. I mean, again, first world problem. Oh, I don't like the match I'm going to see at Yogi Gym. I mean, I get it. But yeah, blue block. Back to what we were saying. Yeah, Zumi losing to Konami is interesting because Konami's taken so many pins lately, and I kind of would have hoped Zumi would be in the mix either for a white belt shot, maybe to take the belt off Konami, like Konami being the transition between Starlight Kid and Azumi, or if she's failing that, I would have loved to see Zero Knee Line fucking win this tournament and go for the tag titles and win them. But that would have felt like something new for Azumi to do either. But instead, she's just losing. I mean, they're like, they ended this 1-3, I think, by the time we get through, or maybe even 1-4. I don't know. I'll get to the final standings after we get to all the shows. But no, actually, I think it was 1-3 because I don't think they're on either Sapporo show either. But yeah, so barring a huge comeback, they're not going to even make the playoffs probably. So yeah, it feels like Azumi again might not be factored into anything big for Dream Queendom, which would be a disappointment for me because yeah, she's one of my favorite wrestlers and just feels like she peaked really high. She had her peak a few months ago, like going to the 5-star Grand Prix final against Momo Watanabe and knocking Saya Kamitani out of the 5-star, and then having that amazing double title match with her at Korakuen that I went 4 3/4 on back in September. But yeah, she really hasn't done much anything since then. She was out hurt for a little while and like recovering from injury. And, I thought she might get back in the mix, but it really hasn't happened so far. So I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, the match itself, though, I thought was very good. Just really action-packed. First with Miyu and Rina, and then Azumi against Konami. Miyu busted out her exploder suplex again, which, I'm pretty sure she's only started doing that recently, like I talked about in the last episode. And it's really quite a good exploder, so... and I love the final stretch here with Konami and Azumi. I thought Azumi had it run with the Azumi Sushi, but Rina broke up the pin, and she hit Azumi with her whip, so there was some cheating involved, and Konami took her down the choke sleeper for the submission. And, that was a bit of a heartbreaker for me, because again, if Zero Knee Line had won, it would have been 2-2, and would have been, squarely in the mix to get one of the top 3 spots. Now they kind of feel like they're going to need a miracle at 1-3. But really good match, 3 3/4. Definitely one that I enjoyed. The main event, the red block here. This was kind of an odd choice for main event, I thought, even though it did end up being good. But the previous match did feel bigger to me. But yeah, it was Yuna Mizumori and Mei Sierra defeating Waka Tsukiyama and Rion. Mei pinned Rion in 14:39 with the goodbye, which is they sit out powerbomb she does. But we got a official team name for Mei and Yuna Mizumori. Mei came up with it. She took the kanji in both their names, basically, to call them Aqua Stella. It's the Mizu, the water part from Mizumori, the Aqua, and the Sei part of Sarah, which is the star part, to be Stella. But yeah, May came up with it. It's better than May comes up with a lot of things, I will say. Because remember when she had her high-speed title match against Waka, who loves to use her ass as a weapon, she wrote on her wristband, "Get hemorrhoids," which I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, okay. But yeah, this was a nicer thing than that, I guess. But yeah, this match was still good, even though, like I said, it was a little bit weird to have it as the main. Fast-paced tag action. And May ended up hitting this like super high dropkick on Rion right before she pinned her with that sit-out powerbomb with like less than 30 seconds remaining. But yeah, 3.5 on this. Good match. And again, another good show here with some tag league action I really enjoyed. So high floor, low ceiling, I guess. What did you think?
Yeah, pretty much same. I think this was my favorite show of the tag league so far. I thought the main built really well to the finish. I thought the powerbomb looked really good. So yeah, just the tournament matches were really solid on this one.
Then we get to the Sapporo doubleheader. So the big problem with these two shows is simply the sheer amount of star power they were missing. So there's no Natsupoi and Shiori, who are probably the biggest team in the tournament as far as like big stars. Shiori was in Okinawa for Oz Academy, and Poi was back in Tokyo at the same time this past weekend for the Sendai Girls show, as we talked about. There was no Saya Kamatani on the undercard. She was missing. She didn't make the trip to Sapporo. There was no Shiori and Saki Kashima. I don't know what they were doing. They were not there. There was no... Suzuki was supposed to be on these shows, but again, she was out sick. So we had another forfeit match where... let me see, actually, who did they beat by forfeit? I think it was on night 6. Yes, it was... This B Priestley and Saya Ito won their match by forfeit against them. So no Suzuki would have been one of the bigger stars on the tournament on these shows. No Sareee and Miku Kanaway. Sareee was also back in Tokyo. Even Bozilla was not here for some reason. Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. So yeah, just a lot of people missing from these shows. So that did not help them, and ended up being the two weakest shows of the tag league so far, I thought. Starting out the Saturday, November 15th show. This show did a crowd of 455, which was way down from July, but that show was a really big show. That had Saya Kamatani against Natsupoi and Shiori versus Shiori versus Starlight Kid. So the red and white belts on the line. That show did 1,056, which was like one of the biggest non-New Japan crowds in Sapporo in like eons and eons. But yeah, this show was way down from that, but you kind of expect it given how that was a much bigger show than this one. The opener was the Blue Block, Sakurawa defeating the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, a bit of an upset. Aya Sakura pinning Lady C in 10:22. What did you think of this match?
I thought the pace was really good, and I liked the pin there on Lady C. I thought that looked really clean. Yeah.
Ami was like, she was like kind of slowly beating on Aya to start, which I didn't think was the most exciting start to the match or the show. But when Lady C came in and did her like super fast giant swing with Aya like screaming her head off, although I think one of the fans were screaming too, because I remember hearing like a woman scream later and it sounded like the same. So it might have actually been the fans screaming. But either way, that was cool. But yeah, imagine it being pretty good. Sakura, like I said, pinned Lady with her little leg cradle thing she does. But that was their first actual win, so they got to 4 points. But as we talked about, the other 2 points were forfeit. But yeah, 3.25, pretty good match, but like nothing that blew me away or anything. Then we had so there were a lot of guest stars on these two shows. Now they ran like basically Diana and Wave both came up to Sapporo and ran like a double shot with Stardom each day. So they ran one of the two ran the early show on each day. I don't know which was which. And then Stardom ran the evening show. So we had a bunch of those wrestlers from those two promotions appearing here. And this was the first one. It was Nanami Hatano, who used to just be known as Nanami, but now she has the last name too, apparently, defeating Kikyo Furusawa in 9:15 with the Dragon Sleeper. So she's from Diana. I guess she's still technically a God's Eye member, though, because she joined on a New Blood show all the way back in 2022. We've seen a bit less of her in Stardom of late, I think, even on New Blood, though. But yeah, she's been around, though. She's pretty good size for a Joshi wrestler. She's like 5'6", and kind of a good look for an indie Joshi, too, in general. And she only just turned 19 this past August, so still a lot of time for her to develop as a wrestler. But yeah, Kikyo got Nanami in a very nice heel hook at one point. Nanami was able to make the ropes, though, after a long struggle. She came back with a sleeper after that, where she kind of like sat back into a dragon sleeper, and that got the tap out. So Gentlewoman's 3, it was fine. Another one of these annoying non-tournament tag matches, but again, I think caused by the illness to Suzu Suzuki. So it was Saya Ida and B. Priestley defeating Rina Yamashita and Honoka. Honoka is from Wave. She's actually the wrestler I saw challenge Saya Kamatani for the, I think it's called Regina D Wave, the top Wave title, back when Saya had that belt. So I saw that match live in April at Shinjuku Face. That was pretty cool, seeing Saya in a tiny building. But yeah, she did not win the title from her, and she ended up taking the pin here. But yeah, Rina decided to try to out-gorilla Saya Ida, which I thought was funny. She like shoulder blocked her down and then did the gorilla chest pound. But yeah, the match was, it was all right. It just also kind of felt like it dragged a bit and just had no real sense of flow to it. Stuff just kind of happened. And yeah, Saya pinned Honoka with her little cradle thing. 2 3/4. Then we had another tag match. Natsuka Tora and Ruaka BMI 2000 defeating Haruka Umesaki and her partner Mizuko Katao. They are both also from Diana, and Haruka is their current world champion, having won the belt the second time from Risa Sera on August 9th. But yeah, the standout for this match for me was Mizuki, who's, she's very much on the heavier side, but she moves very well for her size. For someone like only 5'1" and 211 pounds, I mean, she, really gets around the ring much quicker than you'd expect. So deceptively quick, I guess you would say. Tora still pinned her with the top rope splash, though, of course, and, Gentlewoman's 3 stuff. And Mizuki was the standout to me. For being the world champion, I didn't think Haruka really made much of an impression either way. But there you go. All right, finally a tournament match, which means I can throw it over to you. Hina and Rana Yagami defeated Waka Tsukiyama and Rion in 8:54. Rana pinned Waka. What did you think of this one?
My notes simply read in all caps, fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's for me, like I said, I haven't watched like a ton of Stardom, and I think like looking at the tag tournament, that's kind of like a snapshot as to why I don't think I've been into it maybe as much as some other people are, is just there's not a lot of like distinction, I guess, in the undercard. It feels like there's a lot of people that have like similar outfits and similar haircuts and things like that. There's not really anything that makes certain people stick out more than others. So yeah, it just feels a bit samey at times. So yeah, I mean, like the wrestling is probably on a higher level than like most companies that you cover. It's just like I'm dying for like a little bit more star power, a little bit more charisma, especially in the undercards of the tag tournament shows.
They have a lot of young wrestlers, and some of them are not charismatic. I don't know. I think a lot of them are charismatic, I think, but I guess we just disagree there. But yeah, they do have a lot of younger wrestlers who are on kind of a similar level, so I can kind of get it from that perspective. And they don't always do a great job breaking people out of the pack, maybe, and especially like Hina is a good example where like she loses the future title, and I thought they were going to do something with her after that, but she just kind of like back in the molasses here and not really doing much anything. So, but yeah, this match was Gentlewoman's 3 again. It was fine, and the twerps here, Waka and Rion, they stay winless. But I think if you watched it regularly, people would stand out more probably. But is that what I would guess? But the red block up next was Yuna Mizumori, and also, to be fair, the tag league is like not the tag league of any promotion is not going to be their most interesting time to follow. But
yeah, no, definitely, you can't judge a company by their tag tournament.
Yuna Mizumori and Mei Sierra went to a 15-minute draw, the first draw we had so far, with the fake luchadoras. I'm not going to say their stupid Spanish names again. Suzuki and Koguma, everybody. But yeah, this match, I like of all the matches to finally go to a 15-minute draw, I did not see it being the fake luchadoras against the Team High Speed, but another Gentlewoman's 3. This was fine. I don't know. It just didn't do anything wrong. I don't get the luchador thing. I just don't get what I'm supposed to be getting out of Hazuki and Koguma, like, pretending to be indie luchadors. It's just very weird to me. But yeah, 15-minute draw. Then it was fine.
Is this their version of like Balloon's Pants Okada, where it's like they're just giving them like plot armor, so that way it's like if you
we're not supposed to think of them as Suzuki and Koguma. They pretend they're different people.
Okay.
It's just them being silly. It's them being silly after they got back from Mexico. But yeah, that's what I mean. They're in the mix though in this fucking tournament. I mean, they're like, I think they're in second place in Red Block so far. So they might go to the fucking they might go to the playoffs anyway because the top 3 teams advance. So
yeah, when you say it like that, it does make it seem a bit more pointless. Because in my headcanon, I just made it like, okay, they're dressing them up as like a different gimmick. So that way, like any team that they lose to, it's like, oh, you didn't beat the real us. Like you beat us being silly. So, but yeah, I mean, if they're just going to win outright, like it seems like you just have to be themselves.
They're protecting the luchadors bone, and they protect fucking Fukuoka Double Crazy in Stardom these days. Yeah. Then we had the main event back in Blue Block. Hanako and Megan Bain defeated Konami and Rina. Megan pinned Konami in 13:59 with an F5. This was a pretty good back and forth match. It still didn't blow me away or anything though. And Rina ended up getting the whip. She used it on both the other girls, but then she missed and accidentally hit her own partner Konami with it. And that set up Megan to hit a sit-out Falcon Arrow. Konami kicked out just as we got the 2-minute remaining call. But then Megan just kind of put her up in the F5 and hit her with it. And that got the pin. So yeah, she joined Saya Ida and Ami Sourei in the weirdly large club of people who have recently pinned the new white belt champion. But yeah, pretty good match, but nothing much more than that. And definitely nothing special as a main event. This was like 3 1/4.
Yeah, once again, hats off to Bane for doing the blood and guts match on Wednesday and flying back to Japan to work. And she's working hard, too.
Please learn how to pronounce your teammate's name, though. Because it's Hanako, not Haneko. So you can see, like, Hanako had a little look on her face, like, should I correct her? But yeah, maybe I'm projecting that under, but it sure looked like it to me. The second night in Sapporo, again, unfortunately, just missing a ton of star power too, so not very good. This was night 7 from yesterday, Sunday, November 16th. This did a crowd of 407, so slightly smaller than the first night. The opener was the Red Block, Yuna Mizumori and Mei Sierra getting another win here in 7 minutes and 50 seconds when Mei Pintina with the flash pin she does, the shooting star, the sunset flip cradle, I guess it is. But yeah, this was, it was fine. Yuna almost pinned Rana immediately off the bat with her Supergirl pin. Hina had to dive in to make the save. And then Mei ended up getting the pin pretty quickly after that, rolling through the sunset flip cradle. And this makeshift team of high-speed rivals just keeps on rolling because they got up to 7 points here. But yeah, pretty short, but fun enough while it lasted. 3 stars.
Yeah, I think it started hot and then kind of faded off a little bit in the middle, but solid.
Then we had the... Why did this open this like this? Okay. Then we had another match with some guest stars here. This was the one that was outraging people because people were like, who is this Natsu Sumuri person? I don't think I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But yeah, she's been around for a long time in Stardom, and mostly in Oedo Tai when she was, quite the... she was very jiffable, I guess is the best way to put it, because of her various antics, some of which we saw here. Did a lot of comedy and stuff. But yeah, this is a 6-woman tag. So it was Kaho Kobayashi, Maika Ozaki, and Yuri defeating the fake luchadora team, Hazuki and Koguma, and their partner Natsu. So Natsu, she hasn't been around Stardom in a while. This is, I think, her first appearance in years. But she shows up most often now as a freelancer in Wave, which, obviously was running this weekend. Also shows up a lot in Seedling and Triple Six. Kaho, another freelancer, appears a lot in Wave this year. She used to be a pretty big regular in Oz as part of Mission K4, but it seems like she hasn't been appearing there that often anymore. Just still a little bit, though. Ozaki broke in with the Actress Girls as part of the initial 2015 class, and she appeared on the Natsu and Sori 10th anniversary show as a result earlier this year. But she jumped to Ice Ribbon pretty quick in 2016. She left Ice Ribbon in 2023. She's been appearing mostly in Wave and Diana. Yuri came up with JTO in 2020, but is now signed with Gambare and still also appears a lot in Ice Ribbon and Wave. I can't tell if Natsu was trying to do like an homage to Ooh La La from Space Channel 5. This like a very old Dreamcast rhythm game now, or if I just had this primed in my head because I went to a panel at that very tiny anime con I'd mentioned earlier that was like rhythm games of the 90s and 2000s, and one of the games they talked about was Space Channel 5. So maybe that just looked like it to me because of that. I don't know. It would be a very obscure reference if it was. So probably was the latter. Probably just looked like it to me. But yeah, Ozaki pinned Natsu in 12:24 at the Argentine backbreaker, or submitted her actually, I think. But yeah, this was not just a lot of comedy, but they were basically trying to bring out Natsu. The two fake luchadoras were trying to bring out Natsu's heelless side. Natsu was doing some very interesting poses. And then the funniest part of the match was she kept trying to hit the Bronco Buster. She kept missing when her opponents would roll out of the way. And she was like basically selling how painful this was to land crotch first on the turnbuckle. And the luchadoras keep encouraging her to try it over and over again, even though she keeps missing. It keeps being very painful. And she finally falls down the third time when she goes to try it again. So they pick her up and try to help her do it. But her other two opponents stop them, and she kind of like gets dropped right on her neck. It's almost like they forced her partners to give her a backdrop suplex. It was kind of funny. But yeah, then Hazuka and Koguma still won't let this go. Finally, on the fourth try, Natsu gets the friggin' Bronco Buster. So good for her. But that ends up being her peak, though, because she submits to that torture rack not long after. And she gets beat up by both their own partners for her troubles. So, but yeah, the amusing Bronco Buster sequence saved what otherwise was a very nothing match. So, 2 3/4. I mean, it was interesting to see some Joshi wrestlers I never really see because, Wave and Diana don't even make tape very often. But, it's just I don't think anyone really stood out on this show either. Then we had the team of Kohaku and Saigakura defeating the team of Haruka Umesaki and Mizuku Kato. Hazuki was on yesterday's show. And Mizuki, we already talked about them. Haruki, not Hazuki. Haruki was the Diana champion, as I mentioned. Kohaku is from Wave. She originally started with Marvelous in 2018, but jumped to Wave in 2021. She's the wrestler who beat Saya Kamatani back in August for the Regina D Wave. I mentioned that Saya had been champion earlier in the year. But then she already lost it since then. She lost it to actually Itsuki Aoki, who's a freelancer who sometimes appears in Stardom as a Mi Vida Loca member. That just happened a couple weeks ago, November 2nd, on Wave's Korakuen show. So kind of weird that Kohaku, I saw some people talking about this, she has this big win. She's the indie wrestler who beat Saya Kamatani to get their belt back, and then they just kind of really didn't follow up with it very well because she just loses it a few months later to another freelancer who also appears in Stardom. So kind of weird. But yeah, Kohaku, she did get the pin on Mizuki here with a top rope splash. This was pretty good. Definitely the best of these undercard tags. I went 3 1/4. So, all right. Tournament match. Red block, BMI 2000. Uraka and Natsukatora defeat Waka Tsukiyama and Rion. Uraka pinned Rion in 10:25 with the capture German. That kept BMI undefeated, I believe, and definitely kept Waka and Rion winless. What do you think of this one?
Nothing super noteworthy, except the finish was a little bit weird. Do you think that Rion was supposed to kick out after the cannonball?
Yeah, I guess he was probably right because I think they messed it up. They messed up the capture German. It looked pretty stupid. Yeah. So I guess that maybe that's are you saying they didn't expect them to have to do the move and that's why it didn't look very good.
Well, yeah, she didn't really get like her shoulder out like on the kick out.
I see.
And the ref did like that weird thing where like it's 1, 2, and there's that long pause before the 3. And so it's like she was giving her like that one last little chance to kick out, and then like she just barely kind of rolled the shoulder up. So it kind of felt like that was supposed to be the finish. And then, but like she got out, and then they did the capture German, which like you said was like kind of messed up. So, and then just pinned her anyways. So it's like, I don't know, just felt a little clunky there. But I mean, the cannonball was awesome. I think I might be higher on Natsuko Tora than some people. Like, I don't know. I like the energy that she brings.
Well, I like her. It's Ruaka I can't stand in this fucking team. But yeah, I mean, I thought this was going really well until the end. I thought. I mean, thought it was probably it still probably might have been my 2000s best match of the tournament. But yeah, I mean, because Rion and Waka are good underdog baby faces, so that match it meshed very well with BMI. But I also liked Rion not falling for Ruaka's fucking stupid look over there trick and just like repeatedly stomping on her foot instead. That was funny. But yeah, I went 3.25. I would have gone at least 3.5 if the finish hadn't been so clunky as you already covered. So still be in my 2000s best match though, I think.
Yeah.
Then we had another non-tournament tag match. So this was the team of Yuki Miyazaki and Rina Amikura beating Kiko Furusawa and Rina Yamashita. It was Rina pinning Kiko in 12:36. Okay. Rina is part of Colors. That's Saki's thing. Saki all caps. Mostly wrestles in Wave and Diana these days after coming up with Actress Girls in 2018. It's like, so the whole Colors thing I think is like an Actress Girls adjacent indie thing. Yuki Miyazaki is the soon to retire Wave comedy wrestler who people were fucking like actually pearl clutching about Taro Okada getting involved in a match on the Wave show before this, which I was like, okay. I know I dunk on the Stardom haters and the Taro Okada haters a lot on this podcast. Some of their points aren't even that bad. I mean, we just talked about how, the booking can be kind of, flat in the mid card sometimes. Now people can get lost in the shuffle with this giant roster, which I don't think that's all Taro's fault. I think they just have a giant roster full of very talented people, and it can be hard to feature everybody at once. But they could do a better job, not having such a, kind of flattened out mid card, where everyone kind of can feel at the same level. The problem is the Stardom haters / Taro Okada haters. They pick the world's dumbest hills to die on. And they go fucking crazy about the dumbest possible fucking shit to the point where it's impossible for me to take these people seriously. You're actually saying, like, they were actually running with, not as a joke. There were people doing, how fucking dare Taro Okada get involved in a Yuki Miyazaki comedy match? They basically said he was going to do that in the entire thing leading up to this match. Because the entire thing they did like a whole storyline on social media where he was really concerned about the poor young Sayaka Kurara facing Yuki in a singles match and, felt like he had to protect, the poor young girl, which, you can think that trope is kind of sexist or whatever if you want, but like, it's just fucking comedy, first of all. And Sayaka's character makes a lot more. It's not like he didn't do that with Soriano or like, he didn't do that with like, Suzu Suzuki or someone who's supposed to be like really tough. He did with Sayaka, who's like, she's very young and she kind of comes off in like a precious kind of way, and it makes sense for her character. So, but for you to actually pearl clutch and be like, how dare Taro Okada interrupt the sanctity of one woman sticking another woman's head in her crotch to try and humiliate her? I mean, you people sound fucking stupid. I don't know what else to tell you. So that's why I'm gonna I could take the Stardom / Taro haters a lot more seriously if you didn't sound so fucking stupid all the time. As far as this match, started out with some crowd brawling. The indie girls were doing some major hate gimmick infringement here. But yes, there was comedy again. And Okataro did get involved again. He got put in Yuki's crotch thing for, I believe, the second time of the day between these two shows. So, the pearls are being clutched again, I'm sure. But yeah, Rina pinned Kikyo with a top rope senton. This match just kind of bored me, to be honest. It was 2.5, very average. And there was also like this very annoying static hum in the background that I think may have been on this entire show, but might have been it was the most I noticed it during this match. So it's kind of annoying. Like I paused at one point to be like, is this my equipment or something? But I think it was just the show. So
Yeah, it was the show.
It was definitely the show, yeah. Then we had the blue block in the semi-main, so back to tournament action finally. It was the Mega Skyscrapers, as they've decided to call themselves, Hanako and Megan Bain, defeating Saya Ida and B. Priestley in 14:54. Hanako pinning Saya. What did you think of this tournament match?
I thought it was really good. I really like B. Priestley's work as a babyface in this. Like, I thought she did a great job of like keeping everybody invested in the match just by cheerleading for Saya. I think B and Saya Ida like meshed really well. I hadn't seen a lot of B's stuff like before the tournament, and you had mentioned like after the 5-star run and like during the 5-star run that you weren't a big fan of B. And so I think I had like low expectations, but she's definitely exceeded my expectations.
I was a little lower in this, I guess. It was like Gentlewoman's 3. I'm just not super into this Hanako Megan team. I mean, they're fine, but like watching them kind of steamroll everybody has been kind of boring for me. So I'm just not, I don't know, I'm just not into it. They were going to go with a tall lady team to steamroll everybody. I much would have preferred Ami and Lady C, even though I guess it's not really their energy, but yeah, I don't know. 3 stars. I would have preferred them suffering at least a minor setback here with maybe a draw, because they did go right up to the 15 minutes, but instead they just stayed undefeated. So the main event, Konami and Rina beat Ami Sourei and Lady C. Rina pinned Ami in 14:28 with the Pink Devil. So, it was a good tag match from start to finish. This show desperately fucking needed it. It was definitely the best match over the course of the two Sapporo shows. I went 3.5 on it. I think it's the only one from only match of the 2 shows to get to that level, I think. Maybe one other one did on the first night. Now it's kind of hard to remember. But, Ami and Rina, they had a pretty lengthy closing stretch together that was very solid. Ami hit a pretty nice lariat just after the 2-minute remaining call. She went for the like thunder. Konami sprayed the black paint in her eyes while the ref was distracted. Rina hit her diving double knees off the top. Ami was able to just barely kick out. Then she took a double team Pink Devil with Konami, like a Pink Devil, like Konami coming off the ropes, like turning it into like part of a face buster. And then Rina hit a second Pink Devil by herself, and that gave her a very big pinfall over Ami. Maybe hurts Ami's status as a contender for Konami's Wonder Stardom title. Not really sure. But yeah, like I said, 3.5. Definitely the best match of either Sapporo show. So, this is a little better than the first Sapporo night just because it had this main event. But overall, just, the 2 shows just weak with the lack of star power here, as I mentioned earlier. So what'd you think of the main event or the show in general?
Main event, I think I like the Hanako and Bain versus Priestley and Ida match just a little bit more. It was solid overall, though. I agree. I think that this was the better of the 2 Sapporo shows, though. Yeah.
So there you go. There's 4 shows this week. So there were quite a lot of them. Let's go through these standings and see where we are here. So in the blue block is Hanako and Megan Bain in first place alone. They are the only 4-0 team in either block. They have 8 points. Then there's 3 teams with 6 points. So Sayuri and Saki Kashima, they are 3-1. So they're the ones in second. Then the other 2 teams both are 3-2. Saya Ida and B. Priestley do have or they don't actually. The Saya Ida and B. Priestley and Konami and Rina, both 3-2, and they haven't faced each other yet, so there's no tiebreak there yet. Then we have Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara. They're 2-2. They have 4 points. The Reiwa Tokyo Towers are 1-3 for 2 points. So are O2 Line, which, these are 2 teams I was really hoping would do better. So they're, that's a little disappointing. And then Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita are 0-4 with 0 points. And they've lost their last 2 by forfeit with Suzu out via illness. Hopefully she'll be ready to go by the time the tournament's off for like, a full week now, because it doesn't come back till next Sunday. So November 23rd. So yeah, we'll see if we'll see if she's ready to go by then. Hopefully she is. Red block, the first place team is Mei Sierra and Yuna Mizumori. They're 3-2-1 for 7 points. So yeah, they have the most points, but they're also almost done with their tournament matches. They only have one match remaining. Let me see who their last match is against. Actually, I'm curious. Is it somebody who could like upset them or knock them out? Their last match remaining is with the Stall for Time boys. It is with BMI 2000. Okay, yeah, that is a big match, and because BMI 2000 is still undefeated. So yeah, 3-2-1 for them. Definitely a contender to move on, but it's not like a solid thing or anything yet, because the other teams can still earn more points, and they could still end up finishing basically 500. Then we have two teams who are both 3-0 for 6 points. So they're both undefeated so far. Natsupoi and Suriano, and the aforementioned BMI 2000, the current tag champions, Tora and Raka. Then you have the fake luchadoras, DLM, really Hazuki and Koguma. They are 2-1-1 for 5 points. I realize I've been doing a lot of shoot trash behavior in this throughout these two podcasts, revealing their secret identities here. I'm sorry for people. I'm very upset by that. But yeah, 2-1-1 for 5 points. So again, definitely still contenders to move on to. Then you have two teams who both are 2-3 for 4 points. Hina and Rana Yagami, and Sareee and Miku Kanoe. Hina and Rana actually do have the tiebreaker over Sareee and Miku. They did beat them when they faced them already, so we'll see if that comes into play at all. Probably not, though, considering they're already like 2-3. Then Bozilla and Kira Kurogane are still only 1-2 for 2 points, and then the only team, to my knowledge, that I think is completely eliminated. I mean, Suzu and Rina might be almost eliminated. They could go. I guess they could go 4-4 for 8 points, and I don't know. I don't know if it'd be possible to move on with other teams having to face each other yet. But yeah, for sure, Waka and Rihanna are eliminated, though. They're 0-5 for 0 points. So they only have 2 matches left. They can only get to 4 points, and 3 teams have 6 points or more. So they are completely mathematically done. Can't even do any kind of wacky tie, like impossible tie scenario that they would never do. But yeah, the next 2 shows before we do our next podcast is Sunday, November 23rd, first of all, in the Big Palette Fukushima in Koriyama City. It opens up with a Hanako versus Kikyo Furusawa singles match. Then we have a 6-woman tag, a Cosmic Angels versus Neo Genesis match, Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurara against Izumi, Mei Sierra, and Miyu Amasaki. A 3-way match with Saya Kamatani, good to see her back on the tour, against Emma Maishima and Momo Kogo. We'll have to wait and see if Emma's ready to go after she missed a bunch of these shows due to injury. Then our first tournament match of the night in Blue Block, Shiori and Saki Kashima against Ami Sourei and Lady C. In another Blue Block match, Saya Ida and B. Priestley against Konami and Rina. The Red Block, Hina and Rana Yagami against Hazuki and Koguma. Then an interesting Red Block match, the undefeated Suriano and Natsupoi against the winless Waka Tsukiyama and Rion. So Waka and Rion going for the ultimate upset there to get their first win. And then the this show, by the way, this isn't necessarily the order, so we don't know yet the match order, I don't think. But the match they have listed last, I guess it could be the main event. The Red Block, Natsuka Tora and Waraka against Bozilla and Akira Kurogane. So again, that's another undefeated team in action there, although Bozilla and Kira do have a win at least. The following day, it'll be Monday in Iwaki. That has another 3-way opener with Saki against Momo, Kogo, and Rion. Waka Tsukiyama faces Kikyo Furusawa in a singles match. Hazuki and Koguma make their actual debut of the tour. They're not wrestling as their luchador alter egos, apparently. They're teaming up with Emma Maishima here in a 6-woman tag against Hate. They're facing Saya Kamatani, Konami, and Rina. The funny thing, by the way, about how obvious they're making it that Suzuki and Koguma, even though they're supposed to be separate people, is like they like do all these tweets where they've supposedly taken over the Twitter account. So Suzuki will be like, from whatever my luchador name is, at Natsu Sumari, we can't be friends. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, anyway, the Blue Block, Hanako and Megan Bain, who are also still undefeated, taking on Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. Azumi and Miyu desperately have to give Hanako and Megan their first loss if they're going to have any chance to stay alive there. Another blue block match. We'll see if Suzu's ready to come back, but she's scheduled to team with Rina Yamashita. So she has over a week to get back. So we'll see if she's able to get over this illness. But yeah, on this Monday show, she teams up with Rina against Ami Sourei and Lady C. Another blue block match. Saya Ida and B. Priestley takes on Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara. And finally, the red block has 2 more matches. Hina and Rana Yagami against Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. And what I'm sure will be the main event, easily the biggest match of the tour so far. They both, I think, likely will still be undefeated, but very well could be undefeated still. The current tag champs, Natsuko Tora and Waraka, against Soriano and Natsupoi. So there you go. Some cool stuff on those 2 shows. Hopefully the tournament can get back on track after the bit of the speed bump in Sapporo. But yeah, that'll all be on next week's episode. All right. So we'll change gears here, or making good time on this podcast for once. We'll go into Noah next, and this is our last topic for the week. So Noah ran 2 shows in Osaka this past weekend. We could only watch one of them because the second one was a VOD show. But the first one was the Sunny Voyage 2025 in Osaka Day 1 on Saturday, November 15th. An announced crowd of 659 people, which was down only slightly from the 705 they did at Osaka Ideon 2 for the N1 back in September. So not too bad considering that was a tournament show. Now, I only watched the top 4 matches. Did you also only watch the top 4, or did you watch anything else?
No, I only watched top 4.
Okay, so I'll quickly get the other results. Neither of us saw them, though. The opener was Kai Fujimura and Amakusa defeating Shuji Kondo and Tadasuke. It was Kai pinning Tadasuke in 7:31. We had an 8-man tag, Kenta Okazaki, Tetsuya Endo, and Juta Miyawaki beating Daga, Daiki Otoshima, Hajime Ohara, and Alejandro. It was Endo pinning Daiki in 8:18 with the Burning Star Press. And then the last match neither of us saw was a 6-man tag, Hank and Tank, the new GHC tag champs, unfortunately, teaming with Yuto Kikuchi to beat Manabu Soya, Saxon Huxley, and Atsushi Kotoge. It was Hank pitting Kotoge in 11:29 at the Collision Course. The first match either of us actually saw was a hype match for the GHC heavyweight title match next week. It was Yoshiki Inamura and Jack Morris beating Kaito Kiyomiya and Harutoki in 11:01. Jack Morris beat Harutoki with the Tiger Driver. I thought it was pretty good. It didn't really feel like much of a hype tag to me for Inamura and Kaito's upcoming GHC title match. It felt like Harutoki was in for the vast majority of the match or something. But first against Inamura, then against Jack Morris before Jack eventually put him away. But I guess Inamura did leave Kaito laying on the floor at the end, so that's something to build with the tag match. But yeah, 3 1/4, pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I'm not really a fan of the Tiger Driver for Jack Morris's finisher. Like, it just kind of, I don't know, it doesn't seem very impactful and kind of just comes out of nowhere. I didn't see the match where Inamura actually won the title, so this is my first time seeing the Mr. Smack Daddy character. I don't know.
In my head, I thought you were like a Noah guy. I thought you would have seen it.
I am, but like at an arm's length. Like, I think, honestly, Inamura, like the day I stopped caring about Noah was like the N1 in like 2023, before Inamura went on excursion and Jake Lee pinned Inamura in the N1 that year. And it was like the last night or like second to last night of block play. And they had like a really good like 10-minute match, and the crowd was like so behind Inamura, and Jake Lee just pinned him with like a big boot or something. And something in that just was like, oh my God, nothing ever happens here and nothing will ever happen here. So I just I watch the shows and I enjoy them from time to time, but like, I just can't bring myself to like invest in it emotionally. But no, I thought I kind of like the Mr. Smack Daddy thing. I think a lot of people have made the point that Inamura just seems like a really wacky dude in general. And so he was going to be wacky no matter what. And so it just happens to have a little bit of a NXT stink on it. So, but I don't think.
Okay. Can I say, because I know, I feel like I might as well just say that it was Joe Lanza that said that. I don't want to sound like I'm subtweeting him. And he said, we're both big boys. We could both, have our own takes. But like he said that a lot in his audio he did about this. Like he thought it was an NXT gimmick. I don't really get like how this is an NXT gimmick. Like he just has a cowboy hat.
Right. Yeah.
But what makes that NXT?
Well, I guess because of like him teaming with Hank and Tank and like the undercards and like how much time he spent.
I guess I just like wasn't his character in NXT like much more wacky? I don't know. I mean, I don't watch NXT, so maybe this is where I'm lost. Why this was NXT? Like to me, this does not feel. This feels like Japanese wrestling wacky. It doesn't. I'm not watching this going like, oh, this is Ameriresu invading my Japanese wrestling. I mean, there have been plenty of like. First of all, there's plenty of people in Japanese wrestling history who've worn cowboy hats. I mean, it feels more like a low key tribute to like Stan Hansen or something than it does like an NXT thing. So I don't know, because he's also like kind of a big dude. See, I don't know. I don't really get where this is like. What is so NXT about it? It doesn't feel like.
Oh yeah, no, I was agreeing with your point. Like, yeah. I think there's a little NXT sheen in it. Like, maybe
in other words, because he came from there, people are making that connection.
Right. And then, like, the Mr. Smack Daddy on his ass feels a little NXT. But, like...
Yeah, I guess. Like, when I think of NXT, I guess I think of, like, porn star level acting. And, again, this is only me watching it through 2-second clips on Twitter. I think of, like, porn star level acting. I think of, that The Rock's daughter... like looking weirdly into the camera. I don't really think of like a guy in a cowboy hat like being a little wacky. I don't know. It's not really. There's really nothing that stands out to me as like, oh, this is the NXT-ification of Noah. But I don't know.
Yeah, no, it doesn't kill it for me. Like I think there's potential there, and the crowd seems to like him. Like if there's like an NXT sheen on his character and the crowd is not taking to him, then like, okay, we back up and we punt. But the crowd's going along with it, and I don't think it's anything like egregious. Like I don't have a problem with the character. So
yeah, the crowd does like him. I mean, I talked about it when I did the podcast about the title one. I don't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a little wacky for me for Noah. It feels, if anything, a little DDT-esque to me. Mm-hmm. But again, that's not the same thing as saying it feels, necessarily American wrestling-esque. So I don't know. I mean, it's a little wacky, but at the same time, I kind of feel like a little bit of it was a little overblown. I don't know. Like, the Mr. thing might be the wackiest thing he does. Honestly, he didn't really do that here. But the Mr. thing also kind of amuses me. So I can't really like. I mean, I get, and again, like you said, the crowd's reacting. So like, if the crowd was not reacting, it would be one thing. But the crowd likes him and seems to like this gimmick. So like, I don't know. I mean, it's also a thing where like we're talking. This is Pro Wrestling Noah, which desperately needs any young-ish heavyweight wrestler to get over. So exactly. It does feel a little bit of like beggars can't be choosers. It's like if the crowd likes this man in a cowboy hat going, Mister, then like, God bless them. Like they have a man under the age of 35 to get behind. I think. I don't even know that for sure. I think, how old is he? Let me look. I'm curious. He was like a young...
36.
Oh, he is that old? Oh, he's 32. Okay.
32. Okay.
Yeah. So that's like the same age as like half the New Japan quote unquote young guys now. So, but yeah, good. So I think they're happy to see him get over, and I think I can live with the Mister, as I guess what I would come down to. The GHC tag title number 1 contendership match. This wasn't very good. Takashi Sugiura and Masaki Kitamiya from Team 2000X defeating Naomichi Marufuji and Kano in 10:27. It was all right until Kano charged into the corner and crushed the ref like a moron. And it felt like, why would you charge there with the ref right there? Just, I don't know, like the entire thing looked like he had more than enough time to stop himself. And set up a very weak chair shot from Sugiura. and then the Olympic Slam for the pin. I don't know what the point of just redoing the same tag title match they just did is, so that's why the result also surprised me. But yeah, they're going to get a rematch now for the tag titles if they went through this weird step of winning this number one contender match, and the cheating was like pretty low effort stuff. So, 2.5, like very average here.
And they're going to win the titles back.
Probably. The whole thing is like, yeah, whatever. Killing time, I guess.
Yeah, which is the biggest problem with Noah is a lot of it just feels like killing time.
Yeah. The Noah Junior Grand Prix second round. First of all, we had Hiromu Takahashi defeating Ninja Mac in 10:50. Hiromu ended up pinning him with like some kind of cradle. It was a pretty awkward cradle too. First of all, why the fuck? Like, okay, you have Hiromu Takahashi and Noah. There's all these matches we never get to see, and they match up against a guy who was just in New Japan that we just saw him wrestle in the Best of Super Junior in May. Like, that felt like a fucking waste. Maybe it's also because I don't really care about Ninja Mac, but like, besides his flips, which are admittedly cool, he just doesn't do anything for me. He's a very meh wrestler. And we got like we even got a rerun of that repeated Ninja Mac like backflip chase up the ramp. I'm just like, okay, buddy, we're playing the hits here. But yeah, just a nothing match outside of the one admittedly spectacular sequence. So 2.5 would have been 2 stars without the flips. So
I went 3.25. I fucking love flips. So like the second Chikara reference on the show, Ninja Mac has put on a little bit of weight. God bless him. Like, good for him. Like, whatever he wants to do, that's completely fine. He looks like Crossbones from like 2007 Chikara now.
Oh, I can totally see it. Yeah,
I love it. It's awesome. The only thing is like he wears like the like overshirt, and then he started wearing like an undershirt under it. And so like he kept having to like readjust the undershirt, which was really distracting. So yeah, like I think you should just embrace it and like no undershirt. So, but yeah, no, I love Ninja Mac. I love the play in the hits, as you said. I think you can play the hits if it's a really good hits. And at least this time, like he faked it on the one side and then did the rebound handspring into the Sasuke special, to chase him up the ramp. So he added like a little extra layer to it. And like, I love when wrestlers have bits and then they don't just run the same bit, like they add a new little layer to it. And so this was just like a little bit extra on top. So yeah, no, I'm a fan of Ninja Mac, and I don't know, I thought it was good.
Then we had the main event, which was Hayata defeating Eita in 14:35 to also move on in the Noah Junior Grand Prix, another second round match. So yeah, this had a slow paced start. Hayata, like at one point, just kind of tossed Eita's shoulder first in the post and just kind of left him there for a while. But the closing stretch was one of these matches where like if you take the closing stretch away, it would have been like 2.25. But the closing stretch was so fucking awesome that if you even just put a normal competent match before that, it probably would have been like 4 stars. So like split the difference. It was like a 3.25 star match. Just really, really great closing stretch. And the crowd did get super into it. Hayata ended up like spiking Eita on his head with that low angle Rana that he does. And that got the pin. It's like always a great finish too. But yeah, like I said, if closing stretch hadn't been so much fun, this would have been like a below average match. But it bumped it all the way up to 3.25 for me. So yeah, not much of a show here from what I saw. There's nothing here you really need to say.
Yeah, the pin trading sequence at the end was really good. There was also like some really hard chops, which I wasn't expecting because you don't really think of those two as like, hard strikers. I wrote that this was the best outcome of this match in theory, because if they had this match like 100 different times, like 90 of them would be worse than this.
Oh yeah, because Hayata's usually can be dog shit a lot of the time.
Oh, absolutely. and I don't know. I'm not as high on Eita as some people are. I think a lot of his work can be really boring a lot of the time, but they were both motivated. And I question why you would main event with this. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that with like the preview tag, or, you would have had to do like a different finish to the Kitamiya and Sugiura match. to main with it. But just weird to me that they main evented with this, like, of all matches. But
so the following night, the Sunny Voyage 25 in Osaka Day 2. It's weird this was VOD when it was also in Osaka, but whatever. It was Sunday, November 16th in the Stella Hall in the Umeda Sky Building, that is a cool setting for a wrestling show, I will say. It's like this giant skyscraper, like right in the middle of Osaka's, like, like they basically have like two really competing downtowns. Like the Umeda area is like the north part, and the Dotonbori area, and Namba is the south part. So yeah, I've been in that Umeda Sky Building. It's a very cool building. Obviously, it gives you great views of the whole city. And I don't know why more promotions don't run this. It seems kind of like a cool place to have a show. But yeah, this did do less people than the Edion show, though. It did 422. So maybe that's why. I don't know. It's a very touristy area, so maybe people don't want to go there. But yeah, but it's not. Well, then again, it's very close to the main Osaka station. So I don't know. Whatever reason, it's not a venue I've heard much of, but it seems like a cooler replacement venue for Osaka while the Edion is going through these rolling closures than a lot of the ones I've heard of. So, but yeah, I haven't seen it yet because again, it's not up yet, and I don't think I'll ever watch this. There's only 3 matches that really matter. The other 2 Junior Grand Prix second round matches. First of all, Kai Fujimura defeated Shuji Kondo in 12:57. And Tadasuke defeated Amakusa. This one surprised me a little bit in 14:38 because they've been teasing a Hiromu versus Amakusa match, and the winner was going to face Hiromu. But Tadasuke is a spoiler here, so I guess maybe they'll hold off on that until maybe even January 1st or something. The main event, Yoshiki Inamura teamed up with Hank and Tank, and they beat Kaito Harutoki and Alejandro. Inamura pinning on Alejandro in 17:34. So this makes me wonder if they aren't going to go. I don't know. Like Kaito keeps losing these skirmishes, so maybe they're putting the title right back on him. I don't know. I mean, that'd be interesting. I mean, with Ozawa being ready for January 1st, I guess either one would be an interesting match. If he is ready, which it increasingly looks like he will be. In which case, you could either do Ozawa and Inamura, which is a kind of a first-time match, at least since they were both not young boys, or you do the rematch of Kaito and Ozawa again, the same where Ozawa was challenging for the title, a year later in the same building. I think I'd rather see Ozawa and Inamura just because we haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I mean, Kaito winning has to be a possibility at least. What do you think? First, I guess, what do you think will happen? Which one would you go with, assuming Ozawa is going to be ready?
Ozawa and Inamura would be the better match to me because Kaito just feels ice cold right now. But I could definitely see them having Kaito beat Inamura so that way they can do the rematch and save Inamura and Ozawa for something bigger down the line.
Especially if they have a major match at the Nippon Budokan. They already know will sell a lot of tickets. Perhaps a match that some people wanted to book for the Tokyo Dome, but could not book due to a certain tiny man who runs a promotion I don't much care for. But I'm not gonna allegedly, unless you ask Sean Ross Sapp, then definitely not. But yeah, so that's coming up on Friday, November 21st. I'm gonna go ahead and tell. If Velky doesn't hear this, I'm going to tell him we need to cover that on next week's show, which I'm sure he's going to love because I bet he doesn't even watch Noah. But I didn't originally tell him that. But yeah, this show, I didn't realize this show was so big. And this is the Friday show at Sendai Sun Plaza Hall for Noah, the crossover 2025. Oh God, it might be a pay-per-view here. God damn it, Noah. Why do you do this to me? Because it only says live on a Bima, so I'm assuming it's another pay-per-view here. But yeah, this has a GHC heavyweight title match as the main event. Yoshiki Inamura versus Kaito Kiyomiya. We have the Noah Junior Grand Prix final. So first the 2 semifinals are Hayata against Kai Fujimura and Hiromu against Tadasuke, with the 2 winners facing each other. We'll have to see where that goes. We have the GHC tag titles, Hank and Tank against Masa Kitamiya and Takashi Sugera. Hiroki makes his return to Noah, I guess. Does Hiroki return in 25th anniversary? Has he been injured, or has he just not been in Noah? Let's see. Hiroki cage match. the man that podcasters everywhere call High 69 because that's what it looks like when you look at his name. I guess he's been like injured or something for a long time because his last match was August 12th, 2024. Hajime Ohara and Hitoshi Kumano defeat Hiroki and Super Crazy and won Victory Night 5. Yeah, so I guess he must have gotten hurt and I just forgot about it. But yeah, it's Hiroki, Muhammad Yone, Atsushi Kotogi, and Hajime Ohara against Marufuji, Kano, Jack Morris, and Judo Miyawaki. And there's really nothing else on this show interesting. It's a bunch of tags. I mean, Fujita's here and a 6-man tag. Whoop-de-doo. That's about it, really. But yeah, there you go. So there's some interesting stuff there and some not so interesting stuff. It's Noah. It's kind of where we're at. We're all kind of waiting for Ozawa to come back. Now here, I'm going to throw this one out there. I want to talk about something happening. Ozawa versus Kaito. Double turn. Team 2000X turns on Kaito and helps, or turns on Ozawa and helps Kaito retain the title.
Ooh.
Throw it out there because you had Ozawa do this fake out thing where he's like sarcastically pretending he's going to turn face when he comes back, but then he stays a heel as everybody expects. But then they do the match and he ends up getting kicked out of his group anyway.
Oh, I actually really like that.
Yeah, I'm not predicting it, but I'm saying it would be cool. It'd be nice for this Kaito Joker stuff to fucking go somewhere already. They've had enough. It's like, Jesus Christ, we get it, you're edgy and whatever. It's like, I don't know. But yeah. All right, so there is your... Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, can I propose like an absolute doomerism scenario here?
Sure.
The NXT guys are defending the tag titles and Inamura is defending the heavyweight title. What if they all drop the belts at the same time to go back to NXT?
Why not? I mean, the tag guys, they can Hank and Tank and fuck off as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, hopefully Inamura is not going back to NXT. All right. So next, that'll do it for this week's show. Before I give you your plugs or whatever, John, I just want to mention the STARDOM, or not the STARDOM. What the fuck was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Google forms that I have in the description of the episode for the last couple of episodes. We've gotten a couple more people have signed up for it. That's if you want to be on the Wrestle Kingdom Week preview extravaganzas we're doing. So again, it's November 17th as I'm recording this. It'll probably go up the 18th. I really want to have that, to have like the full number of people I want to be, who are going to be on there by the end of this month. So I can start putting together the probably 2 episodes we're going to do. So we have already like, I think 6 or 7 volunteers, including you. So you're going to be on too. But yeah, I mean, you this time as in John Bivins, not you, the wrestler.
Yeah, no, you's retired.
Yeah. And probably doesn't speak English. But yes, although I shouldn't assume that. Maybe her English is fucking great for all I know. But yes, the point is, if you want to sign up, and I'm still love to get more signups, just try to fill out that Google form by November 30th. So by the end of this month. So it'll be in the podcast description. It's also pinned, I think, to the Discord. All you got to do is fill out the Google form. Tell me which promotions you want to talk about. Tell me what days you're available. And that's it. You don't have to be going to Wrestle Kingdom Week. A lot of the people who sign up are, but you don't have to be. And it's just like basically the idea is we look ahead to a promotion's big Wrestle Kingdom Week shows, and we look back at what their year was like before this, leading up to it. Sort of like the old year in review shows we used to do on Omakase, but like a little bit different format. We're really focusing on the Wrestle Kingdom Week preview, like the WrestleMania week, the WrestleMania weekend previews they do on the Voice of Wrestling flagship, So yeah, if you're interested, I'm very rambling today, but yeah, just go ahead and fill out the Google form and sometime before the end of the month. All right. Give me any plugs you want to plug, John.
Nothing specific. Just the Instagram and stuff. I'm sure it'll be in the description or whatever. That's pretty much it. I'll be guest hosting the Super J Cast in like a week or two when they take the time off for the Tag League. So I'll be reviewing I think it's like the first 4 shows of the Tag League. So yeah, that's about all I got coming up.
There you go. And you'll be back on this show in December. So for the Wrestle Kingdom Week preview. Next week here on this show, it'll be Velky Braka, Ricky's return, as I mentioned earlier. We'll be talking about the nights 8 and 9 of the Goddess Tag League, so only 2 nights on next week's show. That's the 23rd and 24th. We're talking about the Sendai Girls November 18th show from Sendai, the Noah November 21st show from Sendai. There's a lot of Sendai. The Oz November 23rd, Korakuen, if I can figure out how to watch it, or if it's airing in time. I had the Tokyo Joshi 24th doubleheader, but I don't know how the fuck I'm going to watch those before in time to record on the 24th. Plus, they're probably not that big anyway, so I think I'm going to scratch that. But one thing I'm adding that I didn't have on here originally when I asked Velky to do the episode, and I'm sure he's going to be very excited to watch it with me. And if he doesn't want to pay for it, I'll give him my login or something. Because it is a pay-per-view. The New Japan Pro Wrestling Purge Night of Torture on November 19th. We are going to cover that on this podcast because you know the fucking flagship is not going to touch that with a 50-foot pole, first of all. But that show looks fucking awesome. You have Evil against Shun Skywalker, the first outside of DDT appearance by Kaisei Takeshi. In this is on the fucking Purge Night of Torture of all things. I mean, that I cannot wait for that fucking show. So we are covering on that episode, Hell or High Water. Velky, if you're listening to this before I talk to you, I'll give you my login to New Japan World. It's something you don't want to pay 2,500 yen or whatever. If you're listening to this and you work for New Japan, pretend you didn't hear that last part. So there you go. That is it then, I guess. And we'll see you next week for that episode. You can follow us on Twitter at Wrestle Omakase, Wrestling Would Not Fit. You can follow me on Blue Sky at Just1MB. You can subscribe to all the other podcasts on the network. Always tell people they can subscribe to the podcast and stuff. I probably should do that, but I never do. You can do that though. Subscribe to us and like us and review us or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. Meantime, thank you as always for listening, and I will talk to you next time.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-star match game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I am the host of the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, a show right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we take a deep look at individual issues and stories that are going on in the wrestling world. Each episode is about a different topic, and we take a thorough and educated look at things ranging from current booking trends to breakdowns on individual performers and angles to investigations into different fan cultures across the industry. In addition, we keep a close eye on the wrestling media, and as a professional journalist, I bring a unique perspective to how current issues in wrestling are being covered and discussed through the wrestling media. We have a revolving series of guests from across wrestling punditry joining us on each episode, and we hope that you make the choice to give us a listen on wherever you get your podcast from.